It's the Chargers and Chiefs from Arrowhead, next on CBS.
The Super Bowl dreams till they all come true. One run, one team, one walk, one play, the whole, one goal from the start to dominate the art of the black and blue. Watch the Super Bowl dreams till they all come true. One chance, one roll, one goal, one redefining moment to ignite your soul. To see your hopes and dreams to the foundation of which you remember when you rise to glory.
Season's greetings from Kansas City and rainy Arrowhead in Kansas City as the San Diego Chargers take on the Kansas City Chiefs, which you will see in high definition, brought to you by Sony. Our kickoff is next on CBS. Temperature is 42, feels like 35, and a gusty wind out of the northwest, getting up to 20 miles an hour. Marty Schottenheimer is the 7th winningest coach. He was the Kansas City head coach from '89 to '98. And Dick Vermeil in his 5th season with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chargers will kick off. They ended the Colts' 13-game winning streak, winning at Indianapolis by 9 last week. And the Chiefs lost at Giant Stadium to New York by 10. Giant running back Tiki Barber went for 220 yards. This is the second meeting this season. San Diego won earlier, 28-20.
And an early look at that San Diego rushing defense against the Chiefs running offense with Larry Johnson.
Kading kicks off. Hall retrieves it. We are underway from the 8-yard line. Dante Hall. And he slipped as he was cutting. And putting him down was Jammer, a 16-yard return. Now for the Kansas City offense, ranked number 2 in the NFL, led by quarterback Trent Green, one of the NFL's top-rated quarterbacks. He also has the 4th most passing yards in the league. On the offensive line, Willie Rowe, Waters, and Shields all headed to the Pro Bowl again. And running back Larry Johnson has led the NFL in rushing since November 1st.
That early slip told you just how slick the middle of this green painted field is.
From the 24-yard line, 1st and 10. Anthony Kennison on the move. And our first look at Larry Johnson with the Richardson block. And pounds his way out to about the 26-yard line and brought down on the play by Foley, gain of 2. San Diego's defense, number 1 in the NFL against the run. Led by the Pro Bowler Jamal Williams on the defensive line. Rookie linebacker Sean Merriman is headed for Hawaii. He had 2 of the 4 sacks on Peyton Manning last week. And in the secondary, Clinton Hart replaces the injured Terrence Keel with the second and 8 coming up.
The critical blocks in the San Diego running game against Sean Merriman and this San Diego defense are the tight ends, Dunn and Gonzalez. It's their job to set the edge, set the corner to enable the rest of the running game go around them.
Larry Johnson had a helmet problem, so D. Brown takes his place on the 2nd and 8, and there is a hit on the quarterback Green, who gets it away, and back there in his grill, Merriman along with Randall Godfrey. Incomplete, 3rd and 8.
And the pressure really comes from the backside. Sean Merriman's blocked very well there by Tony Richardson, but the defense collapses on the backside in the bodies of Olshansky and Godfrey. And that's what you get with this defense. You don't really know where it's going to come from. Sean Merriman said he gets just as much satisfaction about taking up blocks and setting up other people for sacks than he does when he does it himself.
5 in the secondary. They bring in Fletcher. 3rd down and 8. They need the 34. Dante Hall is the 3rd receiver. And here is Green looking for Hall, who drops it and covered by Jammer at midfield. So it's 3 and out for the Kansas City Chiefs on their first possession today.
Well, I'll tell you, early on, obviously that's a drop. Early on, Kansas City is committed to blocking Merriman with Tony Richardson. Richardson does a nice job and enables Trent Green to get this ball off, and that's not conditions, that's just concentration. You have got to catch those kind of balls when you get the opportunity in a game of this nature.
Colquitt will punt. He is the rookie from Tennessee. And Eric Parker, who is a little bit questionable coming into today, is back inside the Charger 33. Wind will be at the back of the Kansas City punter, but it's a horrible punt in the rain. And Parker, fair caught, 44-yard line on a 30-yard punt. Now the San Diego offense, led by the quarterback Drew Brees, engineering the 6th rated offense in the NFL. Brees is over 3,000 yards again. Right guard Mike Goff is the only Charger offensive lineman to start each game this season at the same position. And running back LaDainian Tomlinson is battling a rib injury and a scoring drought. He has not had a touchdown in 3 straight games. On the 45 after the Chiefs punt, 1st and 10. Neal is in motion. This is LT. Nice penetration on the play by the rookie out of Texas. Derek Johnson, a loss of a yard on the play, back to the 44.
Kansas City's own linebacker, 56 rookie, making a big play, Johnson.
Which takes us to the Chiefs' 28th ranked defense. Second-year defensive end Jared Allen is number 8 in the NFL with 10 sacks. Linebacker Kawika Mitchell leads the Chiefs in tackles. Safety Greg Wesley, 5th in interceptions. In the NFL, he's got 6. It's 2nd down 11 from the 44. Tomlinson again, a block by Neal, and a tackle made in the Kansas City secondary by Surtain. A gain of 5, Randy, to the 48 as we take a look at your keys today, your crosstalk.
Pretty easy for San Diego. Their stars must be the stars, including LaDainian Tomlinson. He has got to run the ball. And Sean Merriman saying his logo, his slogan, lights out, about says it all. Kansas City's got to tackle, and they've got to do whatever it takes. Blitz, reverses, reverse passes, anything. They've got to find a way to win this game.
Benny Sapp is the 5th defensive back, 3rd and a short 7. They're at the 49. Parker, McCardle, Vincent Jackson out there as receivers, and Brees tossing it incomplete. I don't think Tomlinson knew it was on his way, and McCardle was running in back. Nonetheless, like the Chiefs before them, it's 3 and out for the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, I know Drew Brees went to Purdue, and that's in the Midwest, used to the bad weather. But the Chargers, Marty Schottenheimer and his football team, for all the travels they've had this year, this is their first foul weather game. So you expect them to take a while to adjust to the wet conditions, the slippery conditions. They just flat haven't done it all year long.
Mike Cyphers is in the top 7 in the NFL in net and gross, with the knuckleball sent down to Dante Hall inside the 15-yard line. He gets a block from Boomer Grigsby. He's got the punter to beat, and he's out of bounds. The electrifying Dante Hall, the punter. Cyphers knocks him out of play. A scintillating 45-yard return. And there was a block by the rookie Boomer Grigsby.
And an excellent job by Cyphers. He gave Dante Hall nowhere to go. He cut the field off. He made him go straight up the field. That's an example of a kicker not exactly dominating tackle-wise, but knowing he's the last man and doing an excellent job of preventing that touchdown.
So beginning at the 43-yard line of the Chargers, the Chiefs will have it for a 2nd time after punting the first time they had it.
And Kevin, I think one of the real keys, everyone talks about Larry Johnson in this offense. I think since about the midseason point, the biggest difference to me has been the play of Tony Gonzalez and getting him involved in this passing game. Since last time these two teams met, Gonzalez has been much more of a factor.
43-yard line, 2 Kansas City tight ends. Starters out there defensively for the Chargers, and this is Larry Johnson, who is hit and brought down by Randall Godfrey. 38-yard line, gain of 5 on the play.
What was the old slogan? Excedrin headache number 376. Well, here's your version of Excedrin headache. Just win. I mean, I'm going to say this time after time today. Both teams win 2 games. It's only happened once in the history of the league, or since the merger, that an 11-5 team did make the playoffs. That was Denver. San Diego wins twice, doesn't get in, it would happen to them.
38-yard line, 2 tight ends. It is 2nd down and 5, and look at Larry Johnson take it into the secondary and dig his way to the 17-yard line, eventually brought down by Hart. A 21-yard grinding run by the sledgehammering running back Larry Johnson.
Well, that was an excellent job inside by Waters, by Wigman, by Shields. Right here, the 3 guys inside. Talk about ceiling. Will Shields just rides him. Casey Wigman turns him. Waters dominates him. And then Larry Johnson finishes that run off. There's the difference in this offense. Priest Holmes never ran with that power.
The two tight ends remain. Johnson in the backfield, 17-yard line, 1st and 10. Larry Johnson again, a block by Rofe and a tackle made on the line by the rookie Luis Castillo. He's down to about the 15-yard line on a gain of 2.
And Larry Johnson with the 7 runs in a row, 7 consecutive 100-yard games in a row. And you know, he made a comment about having to run inside. We saw it 2 plays ago with a run inside. Last play, another run inside. And that's going right at the heart of the defense. That's Jamal Williams' territory. Jamal Williams, the nose tackle, controls everything from tackle to tackle inside.
Second Kansas City possession, punting the first time. A great punt return by Hall. 2nd and 8 from the 15, and play action by Green with time. And over the head of Larry Johnson, who was covered by Merriman on the play at about the 14, bringing up 3rd and 8.
Trent Green might have done Larry Johnson a favor, because that would have been about a no-gainer, and all he would have gotten out of that one was a headache, because Sean Merriman would have finished him off. Now the key is, last time these two teams met, and it was obvious passing situations, especially early, San Diego dominated this Kansas City offensive line. They put unbelievable pressure on Trent Green. Green had a great second half, but first half, a lot of pressure from the front 7 of the San Diego Chargers.
3rd down and 8. No changes defensively for the Chargers. Larry Johnson. There's a block by Kennison. He's grabbed by Bao Ju and carries him down to the 3-yard line on a 12-yard gain. Earlier, Johnson had a 21-yard run. It's 1st and goal, Chiefs.
Wow, the most important block on that play was simple, and it was right on the edge. Talk about setting the edge. Watch Dunn against Merriman. Just an excellent job by Dunn coming off, turning out the linebacker, Foley. It is Foley. And then Larry Johnson follows those blocks. Nice one by Kennison also. What a power Larry Johnson is inside.
Richardson has come in with the 2 tight ends. 1st and goal at the 3. And Johnson again. Good block by Rofe. That's an easy touchdown for Larry Johnson.
Watch Willie Rofe, the left tackle. Brian Waters seals the edge. Willie Rofe dominates on Foley. And it's a walk-in for Larry Johnson. That's returning the favor so far for this Chiefs offensive line. They were dominated in the first version of this matchup. Right now, they're taking it to this defense.
17th rushing touchdown for Larry Johnson. The Tines extra point makes it 7-0 Kansas City. All set up on a 45-yard punt return by Dante Hall. Then runs of 21, 12, and eventually 4 by Larry Johnson. Last drive, 7-0 Kansas City. Here's the Tines kickoff. The rain and wind, and picked up by the Kansas State rookie Darren Sproles at about the 8. And then he is brought down by Jimmy Wilkerson, a reserve defensive lineman, at the 25-yard line, a 16-yard return. The Chiefs on top, 2 teams still alive, but on the outside looking into the AFC playoff picture. 9:22 in the first. On Country Club Plaza, very festive this time of year. 25-yard line, San Diego's 2nd possession. 3 and out the first time they had it. Chiefs just scored. Larry Johnson from 4 yards away. Starters back out there. 1st and 10 for Breeze. Going deep, and he's got Gates with the catch. The tackle made by Sammy Knight. 47-yard line, a 22-yard gain, and a San Diego first down.
Now there's faith between a quarterback and his receiver, because Antonio Gates is going to end up in a crowd of 4 Chiefs. And Drew Brees never hesitates. He's covered underneath, he's covered in the back, and they still throw the ball and get it there successful.
No huddling is San Diego from the 47, 1st and 10. LaDainian Tomlinson brought down hard. Lionel Dalton streaming through. Loss of 3. Back to the 43 as we take you to New York, and Greg Gumbel.
Kevin and Randy, the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of those teams looking for an AFC playoff berth. They're on the board against the Cleveland Browns. Jerome Bettis from 2 yards out with the extra point. It is 7-0 Steelers, under 7.5 to play in the first.
Well, let's see. The Steelers have beaten Chicago and Minnesota, NFC North teams the last 2 weekends. Second and 13. Thank you, Greg, from the 44. That's the Pro Bowler, the fullback, Lorenzo Neal in motion. Breeze dumps it off to LaDainian Tomlinson. There's a block by Goff, and he's into Kansas City territory, brought down by Sammy Knight and Kawika Mitchell. 9-yard catch and run to the 47. Back to Greg in New York.
All right, Kevin.
Dave, 47-yard line. It's Breeze with the pocket crumbling on the move. And he's got the first down, sliding to the 39-yard line. A gain of 8 on 3rd and 4. And this drive for the Chargers began back at the 25 in their second possession today.
Show you what happened to Mike Goff. Watch him right here. You hear the term stinger? Watch the top of his head make impact right there. And he drops to the ground after hitting Johnson. And that stinger, you get shots go down the side of your shoulders like that. When that happens, you lose power in your arms. It'll take a while to recover from that.
The Chiefs have taken out a defensive back. They've got a 4th linebacker, Scanlon. It's 1st and 10 for Breeze. And that is incomplete. Looking for Gates. Coverage by Wesley. So they go with 3 defensive backs. They took out Warfield.
Yeah, well, they put all of them on Antonio Gates.
So they had a linebacker who was Scanlon, and this is just what the Chargers are looking at right now.
You thought the Kansas City formula might give you a headache. Look at that one. Just win 2. They need the most important one in there was that 3-way tie I talked about with Pittsburgh, San Diego, and Jacksonville. They need Jacksonville to lose 1. So if they win both their games, Pittsburgh wins both their games, all 3 end up at 11-5 tie. Pittsburgh ends up as the odd man out, and Marty Schottenheimer's football team goes to the playoffs as the 6th seed.
There's a discussion on the field with Mike Carey and his crew.
7:01 on the game clock, please.
The Chiefs have brought in an extra defensive back on this 2nd and 10 upcoming. That's Sapp. And they've also brought in Carlos Hall on the defensive line, along with Jimmy Wilkerson.
And Mike Carey asking that 11 seconds be added to the clock, bump it back up to 7:01. There we go.
Allen is still in for the injured Mike Goff.
2nd and 10 from the 39.
For the San Diego Chargers on their offensive line.
Chiefs have got to find a solution to Antonio Gates. The last one was a bad pass by Drew Brees. Gates was open. If they don't solve Gates, they'll just keep going and going back to him, just like they did last time they played.
Vincent Jackson, the rookie, is the 3rd receiver for Brees, changing the plays. 2nd and 10, 39-yard line. Brees incomplete. Flag is down. They were going for Parker. Covered by a linebacker on the play. This will be the first penalty of the game. On this drive, the 2nd of the day by the Chargers, who punted the first time they had it. Antonio Gates at a 22-yard reception. Give him some breathing space.
Pass interference. Defense number 44. The spot of the foul. Automatic. Touchdown.
Warfield.
It's one thing about the corners here in Kansas City between Surtain and Warfield. They will get after him. You heard from this nice crowd here at Arrowhead in this miserable weather exactly what they thought of that call. But you have got to be physical with San Diego's receivers. I think that's the key really for Vermeil and Gunther Cunningham, his defensive coordinator there with the yellow glasses on. They got to be physical with the receivers, especially Gates.
3rd receiver's been taken out. Neal, the fullback, brought back in. 37-yard line. 1st and 10. The bad ribs, LT. Tomlinson running outside, and the ex-Dolphin, Patrick Surtain, bringing him down. No gain on the play. Folks, the playoffs are right around the corner. NFL experts break down which teams will make the cut. See if your team is in at CBSSportsline.com. This is a matchup of 2 great running backs coming into today. Johnson, who has scored, and Tomlinson.
And the biggest difference has been the dominance up front of that Kansas City offensive line, because so far the KC defense has tackled extremely well and dictated to LaDainian Tomlinson.
Starters back out there defensively for the Chiefs. The blitz is on. They've got Bell chasing Breeze, and that is dropped and maybe deflected, and a flag. All kinds of stuff going on, but they sent Kendrell Bell up the middle, pressuring Breeze. Incomplete as it stands now, but the flag is down.
Well, the first person it hit was Hallen, who's in at right guard for Mike Goff. It's going to be an ineligible receiver touching the ball, or illegal touching,
Hallen
which always sounds kind of bizarre.
It
but
does, especially in the NFL.
we got to wait for the offseason to maybe change some of this terminology.
Hallen, by the way, is a one-time Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl starter.
Ineligible receiver, downfield on the offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty is still second down.
68 is Dielman, who they said has been one of the great additions to the line this season.
Well, remember, Tony Fonati started at right guard in that Denver game we did in week 2. He re-injured the wrist that he had hurt in week 1, and ever since then, Marty Schottenheimer has had Dielman in, who has just been a beast as far as being physical. He's the guy most likely to start a fight, and he's the most physical offensive lineman they have in San Diego.
Vincent Jackson, the third Charger receiver. Sapp is the 5th Kansas City defensive back. 2nd and 15, 41-yard line. Look at the time. Off of LT's hands, LaDainian Tomlinson could not snare it. And a flag downfield at the 23.
Might be a little illegal contact, little holding down the field.
On Wesley of Kansas City, perhaps.
Illegal contact with the quarterback in the pocket. Defense number 29. On 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's called on Sammy Knight.
Yeah, and it's going to be a problem for this defense. With these receivers, like I said, especially Antonio Gates, and they're trying to do what they have to do is be physical. With the quarterback in the pocket, they can't jam him up down the field. Now, if he scrambles out, bets are off on that new rule. But in the pocket, they cannot contact down the field, these receivers.
Fullback is in. Third receiver is out for San Diego. 1st and 10, 36-yard line. The fake to Tomlinson. Breeze. And McCardell, who is covered by Surtain, gets the grab, picks up a first down on the play to the Chiefs' 23, 13-yard gain.
One of the smartest things Cam Cameron and the Chargers did this year was going to this kind of no-huddle feel, because it gives them the ability to keep the defense on the field, to pull off these kind of fakes, to get a defense kind of off balance, and it's paid huge dividends because the offense has just grown exponentially since then.
Riche Caldwell has come in, taking the place of Parker. 1st and 10, 23-yard line. Tomlinson with a block by Neal, and then a tackle made at about the 18-yard line. And that was by Kendrell Bell. Gain of about 5-6 on the play, spotting him at about the 17-yard line. A reminder to log on to NFL.com and keep track of the latest official playoff picture. It's all on NFL.com and NFL on AOL. Second drive of the day for the Chargers. Punting 3 and out the first time. They started this drive at the 25. Now they're at the Kansas City 18 officially. 9th play coming up, 2nd and 5.
In the red zone, you better keep track of Gates.
Fake to Tomlinson. Here comes Hicks after Breeze. They send it to Justin Peel, the other tight end, who was knocked out of bounds by Scanlon. One of 4 linebackers put in for the Chiefs. A loss of a yard, back to about the 18, 19-yard line.
It's funny to watch the defense going against Marty Schottenheimer's offense for Kansas City, because Kansas City is taking Antonio Gates, and they're doubling him almost every time. That last time, they had Greg Wesley, the safety, manned up on him all by himself.
Now the Chiefs back to a 4-3-4 defense on 3rd and 5. Third receiver is Parker. There's a block, and Breeze has time and looking for Gates, and he's got it for a touchdown. Beating the linebacker, Kawika Mitchell. An 18-yard strike by Breeze.
Kevin, again, how do you defend Antonio Gates in the red zone? They had him manned up before, and then they get him against a linebacker. When he's against a safety, he was covered. You get him against the linebackers inside. Kawika Mitchell is number 50. Gates comes out the backside, and he is wide open. That is a dream matchup. You flat can't do that. If they catch you in those matchups like that, you will give up points or huge yards or both.
And here's the Kading extra point, which ties the game at 7 at 4:06 in the first. Gates makes the grab. He is the #1 tight end receiver in the NFL, number 6 overall, going to his second consecutive Pro Bowl. A big play there to tie it in Kansas City. Chargers have just tied the game on an 18-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Gates. Chiefs got on the board first on a 4-yard touchdown run by Larry Johnson.
Just an unusual talent, and you better take unusual measures defensively to stop him.
And so the ensuing kickoff by Nate Kading. Dante Hall is back at the 8-yard line. He's returned 6 in his career for touchdowns. Now he's brought down by Sean Phillips out of Purdue, a reserve linebacker, and a 27-yard return. They will put the ball near the 35, 36-yard line. Drew Brees with the touchdown pass for the Chargers. 3:59 to play in the first. Chiefs have won 17 consecutive December home games going back to '96. They're tied right now with the Chargers. This is their third possession, 33-yard line, 1st and 10. Jason Dunn tackled by Jammer near the line of scrimmage. For Dunn, just his 5th reception of the year. He picks up 2 yards.
Well, let's revisit that unusual talent, Antonio Gates, and his touchdown. He lines up right here, blocks temporarily, and then drags across the defense. All the action goes the other way with Drew Brees and the offense and the line pulling. It's a great play design by Cam Cameron. It puts a linebacker like Mitchell in a bad spot, and it's something that Cunningham and his defense had better adjust to, manning somebody faster on Gates.
35-yard line, 2nd down and 8. Larry Johnson, who has a 4-yard touchdown run in his pocket today, picks up about 1 yard. And waylaid on the side by Godfrey. To New York and Greg Gumbel.
Kevin and Randy, thank you. In Cleveland, Steelers continue their playoff push. Ben Roethlisberger, 7 yards to Hines Ward with the extra point. Steelers with a 14-0 lead, 2:40 to play in the first quarter.
And the Steelers have beaten the Browns 4 consecutive games coming into today.
That's going to turn back into an unbelievable matchup and rivalry in Cleveland now that Romeo Crennel's back there. That will be a different Browns team from now on.
Jamar Fletcher is the 5th defensive back on this 3rd and 7 for the Chiefs. That is caught by Gonzalez for the 83rd consecutive game. Gonzalez has caught a pass brought down by his former teammate here in Kansas City, Donnie Edwards. It is a 1st down, and for Gonzalez, he ties a franchise record with Stephon Page, 83 consecutive catches.
Well, his old buddy Edwards is all over him. He's wearing him like a shirt. He can't play this defensively much better. He tries to knock down the pass, but great location by Trent Green, throwing it to that backside number. He threw it further away than Edwards, and he could reach.
Dante Hall after that 14-yard catch by Gonzalez. It's Hall on 1st and 10. Banged at about the 44. Hit hard by the linebacker Godfrey and picks up 6 on the play.
Did you see Will Shields on that pull?
He pulls hard.
I mean, between Will Shields and Willie Roaf, would you like to be a defensive back coming out? Look at this guy. Now, he doesn't do much. 68 is Will Shields. Jammer kind of avoids him. But if you're a defensive back and you got Shields or you got Willie Roaf coming at you, you've got to reevaluate how bad you want to hit.
2 tight ends. Parker is in as the 2nd receiver. 2nd down, 4. 3rd Kansas City possession from the 44 of San Diego. Larry Johnson, Gonzalez with the block. Larry cuts inside. Randall Godfrey, the ex-Titan and Dallas Cowboy, brings him down at the 40 on a gain of about 4.
This offensive line sending three offensive linemen to the Pro Bowl, and Roaf and Shields, how about that? 11 times. Willie 11 straight times. I mean, it's amazing what this offensive line does, and I think there should be a 4th. Casey Wigman, the center, is as good as any center in the AFC. I think there's no way you can keep excluding this guy from the Pro Bowl year after year. He won't be tooting his own horn, but dang, somebody needs to.
Starting 3-4 defense out there for the San Diego Chargers. A 1st and 10 for the Chiefs at the 40. Fake to Johnson. And Green off to Larry Johnson, chased by Sean Merriman. There's a block by Hall and out of bounds at about the 31-yard line with Merriman chasing, and a flag is down.
It's going to be holding inside on the Chiefs, I think, Kevin.
And maybe wipe out a 9-yard gain.
Holding Offense number 54. 10-yard penalty is still first down.
Pro Bowler Waters.
Well, Godfrey was coming on that blitz, and Waters was at the left guard position, and he had to come out on him. Here's Waters right here. Here's Godfrey getting ready to come. Check out that matchup. Right there, he gets his arm linked around the inside of him and kind of lassos him.
There is a player down for the Chargers. Our first quarter clock at 29 seconds. The Chiefs are on the move. They have brought in Cooper. They have brought in Matt Wilhelm, and they've added a fifth defensive back for what is now a 1st and 20 for the Chiefs. Right at the 50-yard line.
Well, if you're the Chargers defense in this instance at 1st and 20, you better pay close attention to Dante Hall, who's in the game, lined up initially at fullback. This is their classic position for an end around in this offense.
That's Mark Boerichter in the game for the first time as the third receiver. The fake, and here comes Cooper, and the pass is out of bounds and incomplete on that 1st and 20. Bring it up now, 2nd down and 20.
Nice job by
a flag, and a flag has been thrown late at the 38-yard line.
That was an excellent job by Steve Cooper, just rushing in and not buying that reverse fake, because they did fake that reverse to Dante Hall,
which they've already run today.
There was no foul for intentional grounding. On the screen pass, the ball went over the head of an eligible receiver. 2nd down.
Ball remains at the 50. The Chiefs need the 30-yard line for a first, and Donnie Edwards is back in the game.
Yeah, Wade Phillips and his defenders, they are on their game right now. They have solved temporarily this puzzle, and really the prime part of the puzzle they haven't had to deal with is getting punched in the mouth by the offensive line with Larry Johnson running the ball.
Gottfried is out. Cooper has taken his place. 2nd and 20. Fletcher is the 5th defensive back. There goes a flag.
False start. Offense number 27. 5-yard penalty is still 2nd down.
That's the 4th Kansas City penalty in all on the offense.
Well, it could have called it on Larry Johnson, could have called it on Parker out there at wide receiver. He flinched pretty bad also.
So now 2nd down and 25, and the penalty moves it back to the Chiefs' 45-yard line. No changes defensively for San Diego.
Kevin, Sammy Parker's become more and more a part of this passing game, more significantly on 3rd down, but in these long down situations, this is when you need your receivers to step up.
Still the 5th defensive back out there for San Diego. 7th play of the Chiefs drive. 2nd and 25. Larry Johnson got a block from Wakeman, the center. Brought down eventually by Jammer, who, look at Johnson continue to carry the pile down to the 42-yard line. A 13-yard bulldozing move by Larry Johnson.
Yeah, he can't hear you up here, evidently, because he ain't going down.
That's the end of the quarter. A San Diego touchdown pass, a Larry Johnson touchdown run. Watching the NFL on CBS, America's #1 network.
Machine's got it.
They began back at their 33. They've got a 3rd and 12. Now, DeQuincy Scott has been brought in on the defensive line for the Chargers, taking the place of Jamal Williams. And they've got Stephen Cooper playing as a defensive end. He's normally a linebacker. In fact, he swings between the two. The Chiefs need the 30, Randy. 3rd and 12.
So far, the early difference in this week and last week for the Chargers has been they're just not as aggressive on defense. Part of that credit goes to Kansas City. And I think the other part goes on, it's hard to maintain that kind of intensity, that kind of speed, that kind of power on a week-to-week basis. And, indoors against Indy and Peyton Manning last week, they were like rabid dogs. Right now, the Kansas City offense seems to have Marty Schottenheimer's defense just a little bit out of sorts.
Clock was not set. Now it is. So far, Parker hasn't caught anything, and he's wide of bottom of your screen. No Larry Johnson in the backfield. They got Richardson. 5 in the San Diego secondary.
Must be a pass.
3rd and 12, and you're right. There's a block by Welburn. Green moves up. He's looking for Parker. Caught for the touchdown. Beating Bo Chu. A 42-yard touchdown pass by quarterback Trent Green.
Easy read for a defense these days. If you don't see Larry Johnson, they are throwing the ball. But Trent Green, they bring the heat. Trent Green's able to step up, take advantage of nice protection, And that was a matter that Parker wanted that ball much more than the defenders. Defenders just seemed sort of out of place.
Tynes extra point makes it 14-7. The Kansas City Chiefs, who come in having lost 2 consecutive games, on the road at Dallas, on the road at the Giants.
Watch him drop it in. Parker's the only guy that goes for it.
14:53 in the first half. 12-yard line for the San Diego Chargers. Boomer Grigsby brings them down. A nice-looking rookie special teams kid out of Illinois State. The gain to the 33, a 21-yard return.
2 things to look for. You get a pocket for him, but look at this. There's a hole in the pocket. That's where Trent Green goes through to step up for the pass, and there's no 56. No Sean Merriman, the guy that haunted and tormented Peyton Manning's at times last week, was not in on that critical 3rd and long rushing the quarterback.
Mike Goff has come back in the game for the Chargers at right guard. He left earlier with what appeared to be a stinger. So 1st and 10. And for the San Diego Chargers, their 3rd possession from the 32. Breeze outside, caught by McCardle, and he gets by Warfield, and he gets the first down as he wheels his way out to about the 43-yard line and a pickup of 11. As we wheel our way to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Kevin and Randy, the Cincinnati Bengals behind much of the early part of this.
43-yard line, 1st and 10. LaDainian Tomlinson, a block by Dealman, and he crashes his way up to about the 45-yard line before he's brought down by Kawika Mitchell on a gain of 2. For over 140 million viewers, CBS is the place for TV #1 network. 2nd and 8, 45-yard line. 3rd receiver out there with Gates atop your screen. There's some motion. It was Parker. And looked like a false start.
It's the young guy, Leander Jordan.
Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Which will bring up a 2nd and 13. Also brings up Greg in New York. Greg?
All right, Kevin, Jacksonville can clinch a playoff spot with a win today. Houston is being difficult. David Carr, 50 yards to Corey Bradford. And with the extra point, the Texans lead the Jaguars 10-7, under 11.5 to play in the first half.
You know, Carr has played well at home this season. And last combined 17 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions in Houston for Carr.
Houston's been a different team the last 2 or 3 weeks. Was Dan Reeves that big a difference?
He might have
observing?
Been. 2nd and 13, handoff. This is LaDainian Tomlinson crossing the 45. Tackled on the play by Kawika Mitchell, among others. A gain of 6 on the play, and they're going to actually put the ball down at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, LaDainian Tomlinson in the last 2 games here in this place has struggled. Part of it's been because they get behind and they're not the kind of team that even when they get ahead, they don't pound the ball.
Peel is the 2nd tight end. Sepp is the 5th Kansas City defensive back. It's 3rd down and 7 from the 46. Good time for Breeze. Bobbled by Parker, took a shot from Johnson, spins his way to the 49, but still shy of a first down. It's a meager gain of 2, and they're going to have to punt for a 2nd time in 3 possessions.
Now this is a young guy mistake, Kevin. If you're Johnson, you need to wrap this guy up. You can't assume you're big and tough and you're going to knock him down. Put your arms around him. Make a tackle. If you're a young football player watching that and you play defense, pretend you didn't see that. That's not how you wrap up a tackle.
Cyphers punting to Dante Hall. Remember the last time Hall got on a punt return, a 45-yard return. The David Binn snap and the low punt, which bounds around, and Hall will just get away from it as it will finish at the 14-yard line. Phillips downs at 38-yard boot by Cyphers, and a flag. In fact, 2 were down. Other end of the field at the 47.
Another one right here on the sideline.
Wow. That was late.
Clinton Hart was rode out of bounds as the gunner and slammed down out of bounds, and then after the play was over, the flag was thrown.
We keep talking about the dominance of the Chiefs here in Arrowhead Stadium. San Diego has won the last 3 against Kansas City, including 34-31 here last November.
And a note on that, that was November 28th of 2004. So
close to
it
December.
didn't fit into that December window of that 17 straight. Dick Vermeil actually in December is 10-0 as a Chiefs coach.
There are multiple fouls on the play.
Yep.
Illegal formation on the offense, and ineligible receiver downfield on the offense. After the play was over, there's a personal foul, unnecessary roughness on number 85 on the kick. San Diego has the option of taking it on the end of the kick or at the previous spot.
Well, thank goodness we have one of the best referees in the business, Mike Carey, to kind of decipher what happened on a very complicated play.
Well, Dick Vermeil obviously didn't agree, but he can't have any problem with the explanation. And that was a case where, you know, you're getting ridden out of bounds when you're a gunner, and that's what Hart was over on the near sideline, getting ridden into the Kansas City bench right in front of Dick Vermeil, and the official was standing right there watching. I was watching the whole thing.
I want to show you this. Number 47 right there is our side judge. His name is Tom Finken. He's got a very interesting distinction. He has been an official in a Super Bowl, Super Bowl 34. Also, he has been an official in a Final Four back in '86, which I believe was at Reunion Arena in Dallas, featuring Duke and Kansas, among others. Louisville was there with Purvis Ellison. So that guy has had some great highlights in his officiating career.
San Diego has elected to add the 15 yards to the end of the play.
Correction, Kansas City had the option to enforce the personal foul at the end of the kick or to replay the down. They have chosen to replay the down, fourth down.
Now they're going to re-punt it, and that means we're all going to go back to the other side of the field. So they're offsetting penalties in essence.
All three of them.
Can that offset? I don't want to think of it. It's too much on my mind in the holiday season to start trying to put that in perspective.
You pointed out Tom Finken there. One thing he also has, looks like he has like a scuba hood in case the weather gets really bad. He'll pull that scuba hood up and put his hat on.
Well, he's with the right crew because the guy that's the referee, Mike Carey, runs a outdoor clothing company in San Diego of all places. He's made surfboards in the past, and so his crew is well outfitted.
Don't forget how good that last punt though was of Cyphers. It keeps the ball away from Dante Hall. You want to pooch it and let it roll. Don't get it up and let Dante catch it.
There's Cyphers again. Good block by Peel to allow this one to flutter down to Hall at about the 10-yard line. Good block by Scanlon, but it doesn't produce anything, and no more yellow on the field. Another flag. In fact, there are two at the 25 and at the 50-yard line on that 42-yard boot by Cyphers.
I know that sounds like silence, but that's the screaming halt alarm going off on this football game when you get this many penalties in concession and you start seeing all those little yellow flags out on the field. It takes a little bit of the pace and the feel out of the game that started off at a pretty brisk pace and a strong offensive showing in the early going here.
Chiefs have scored on the ground and through the air.
Again, there are two fouls on the play. Ineligible member of the kicking team, number 57, was downfield. And during the kick, holding number 21 of the receiving team. Kansas City has again the option, taking it on the play or re-kicking.
Well, there's no 21 because that's Jerome Woods, and he was inactive coming into today. Wilhelm was guilty for San Diego. Maybe Hannick Milligan, who's going to the Pro Bowl as the special teams player from the AFC.
No doubt as to where the hold was.
Look at that.
They don't even allow that in pro wrestling.
It's illegal in pro wrestling.
And one more time, I tell you, I've been around this league long enough, and so has Dick Vermeil, to know that when you keep giving people chances, especially people as dangerous as Dante Hall, you will regret it. And he loves his returner.
There's Mike Cyphers. Only a third of his punts are returned, which is the lowest percentage in the NFL this season. He's a good one. In fact, the Chiefs think he's the best punter in the NFL. His numbers would back it up, and Hall's going to wave this off as it bounds at the 21. And that was hit by someone. That could be a loose ball and a live ball at the 14-yard line. There was such an entanglement of legs and arms and bodies back there. They didn't know who really touched the ball. They're going to move it up. They say the Chargers the first to touch it at about the 20, which means it is down right there because it was waved off by Hall. 32-yard punt. All right, go back to the refrigerator and to catch your breath and then come back. And we promise we'll have football for you.
Football. I mean, real stuff, like guys running and catching and tackling.
The Chiefs have scored on a Larry Johnson 4-yard touchdown run, a 42-yard pass to Sammy Knight. The Chargers got on the board on an 18-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Gates. As the Chiefs begin here with their 4th possession, couple changes defensively. 5 begin in the secondary for San Diego. Fletcher is there, and Godfrey is out, and they brought in Stephen Cooper as a linebacker.
You got it. You got
On the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Bo Richter is out there as a receiver for the Chiefs. Fake to Johnson. Here comes Castillo. Incomplete. I think his arm was hit, Randy, on his follow
It was Sean Merriman that hit his arm just as he was throwing when he stepped up.
All right, Greg Gumbel, come on in. We've got a 14-7 game here with the Chiefs. What do you have in New York for us? And don't be surprised, Buffalo has beaten Cincinnati 7 consecutive games. 2nd down and 10. 3rd receiver is Dante Hall for the Chiefs. Larry Johnson, a block by the Pro Bowler Shield, but a tackle and a good one made by Jamal Williams. It is a gain of 4 to the 24-yard line.
Jamal Williams does such a nice job of controlling things, and you run a delayed draw like that, he has that ability to stick and control. He sticks that offensive lineman, and he's got plenty of girth and ballast to control that whole area inside between the tackles.
They brought in Sean Phillips to play on the defensive line. 3rd down and 6. Still 5 remain in the Chargers secondary. Richardson in, Johnson is out from the 24. Green, Tony Richardson, grabbed by his former teammate Donnie Edwards. 35-yard line. They've got the 1st down, a pickup of 11 on 3rd and 6.
So again, Larry Johnson out, T. Rich in, Tony Richardson in. Pass. This time, instead of just being there as a personal protector, Tony Richardson leaks through the middle and gets himself a reception.
Now they go to 4 in the secondary. Fletcher will leave. Godfrey is back out there as a linebacker. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs at the 35-yard line. Jacques Cesaire is on the defensive line for the Chargers. That's a good-looking stick by Drayton Florence on Sammy Parker at the 40. It is a gain of 5. This is Kansas City's 4th possession today. Tuesday, January 17th on CBS. 2nd down and 5 from the 40. Larry Johnson. There's another good block by Shields. Eventually the tackle made by Godfrey. Close to a 1st down. And a gain of about 5 near the 45-yard line.
I mentioned earlier about the difference in this offense, and it's really been a remarkable difference with Larry Johnson. And when he comes in, it's power. And Priest Holmes did some great things, but this is developing now basically since Dallas. When he missed that block on Scott Fujita, who tackled Trent Green, the ball came loose. It was basically the game-changing kind of play. The Chiefs decided, well, look, he may eventually learn how to pass block better, Larry Johnson may, but in the meantime, we're taking him out and putting Tony Richardson in, so it's easy. When he's in, he's getting it, and when he's out, they're throwing it.
They brought the chains out to take a more accurate measurement. One note, we told you that San Diego's run defense is #1 in the National Football League coming into today. They've gone 16 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard back, and they get the 1st down by half the length of a football. 16 consecutive games. Johnson today has already carried it 10 times for 67 yards. So he is well on his way, and he's got a touchdown run.
And the one thing that you got to consider, too, is, we're getting towards the end of this year. Next year, there's the Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, either or, who goes, who stays, what happens.
Dante Hall is the 2nd wide receiver. 1st and 10, 45-yard line. 3-4 defense by San Diego. Here comes Jacques Cesaire. There's a pass which is incomplete. Another hold, another flag, 32-yard line.
John Wellborn, right tackle. You see an end start to spin around and make an unnatural move. Mike Harry's going to throw that flag every time.
Wellborn had a hold on Michael Strahan last week that our good friends Jim Nance and Phil Simms picked it in New York.
Offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, it remains 1st down.
Yeah, but he was dominating Michael Strahan doing it, and it was inside. You get out on the numbers outside, it's holding, it's easy to call. You get it in the frame of the body is what they call it.
From like the armpit down.
Yeah. But you start turning people around, and they start making those unnatural moves. A defensive end who's moving towards the quarterback, who suddenly tries to move away from you, but he can't get away from you. that's pretty easy to figure out. You might be holding them.
Well, as a 3-time Pro Bowl, you know what you're talking about. 1st and 20 back at the 35. Godfrey is out, and they brought back in Cooper as a linebacker. Here's a handoff to Larry Johnson. Grabbed by Cooper, brings him down 37-yard line. Gain of 2 yards.
I talked about that decision here in Kansas City about, you know, Priest or Larry, and you look at just the 7 starts from this season and compare them. And remember, Johnson barely played against San Diego last time they played, and he's done an amazing job of making a case for who should be the starter here in Kansas City. With the price of these 2 guys, I can't see them keeping both of them. It's a nice market out there for running backs. It's a matter of whether or not Priest Holmes wants to come back from that neck injury.
Shansky and Williams and Cesar on the defensive line. 2nd down, 18. Quick toss right through the hands of Gonzalez, who looked a little bit surprised that it was coming his direction. The coverage by Steve Foley. Was it deflected?
It was deflected.
All right. Well, when these 2 teams met in Week 8, Chiefs running back Priest Holmes took a vicious hit from San Diego linebacker, the rookie Sean Merriman. Holmes suffered a concussion, has not played since that game, put on the IR.
And the difference Sean Merriman really has made in the San Diego defense is very evident in that injury. Is he brings such size, such speed and velocity. It's amazing what he can do. Johnson's out. We got a pass coming, and KC's in another 3rd and long.
Hall is the 3rd receiver in motion right now. Fletcher's the 5th defensive back. It's 3rd and 18. And is caught by the 2-time Pro Bowler Tony Richardson. Upended on the play by Matt Wilhelm. And Edwards is shy of the 1st down. It's a gain of 9, and they've got a punt for a 2nd time in 4 possessions today. Colquitt has really been punting well. You know, his dad punted in a couple of Super Bowls. And this year, he's been great. He's had only 1 of his last 11 punts returned.
I feel like running the theme music to Mission Impossible. Sort of with the theme being, can we run a punt without a flag?
Parker is back chasing it and grabs it at the 2. What a great defensive play. Benny Sapp was down there.
Gary Stills, too.
42-yard punt. 3-yard return. The Chiefs on top by virtue of a touchdown pass to Parker and 7:51 in the 1st half. Coming up on the Sprint halftime report from New York, Greg Gumbel and company. With latest scores, highlights, and playoff news. Sprint halftime is next in New York. San Diego's worst starting field position today, 15-yard line. Chiefs open up in a nickel secondary. That means they got 5 guys back there. And the pass on 1st and 10, caught by a sliding McCardell. He was grabbed by Surtain. It's a gain of 12 and a 1st down to the 26.
Just a reminder of what this game really is all about. It's about staying in the wild card race with Jacksonville and Pittsburgh sitting at the head of that, especially Jacksonville. With a win today versus Houston, they would clinch that number 5 spot.
Riche Caldwell is the 2nd wide receiver with the 1st and 10 handoff to Tomlinson. Grabbed on the play by Kendrell Bell. The ex-Steeler throws him for a 1-yard loss to the 25.
Yeah, remember earlier in the game we talked about what kind of season it's been for San Diego, and you know, you are what you are, you know, and this is why San Diego's in the spot they're in. You know, they lost those games, and what really jumps out at you when you look at those losses, all by that small a margin, 3 of those 5 losses coming at home, is what you really don't account for when you're Marty Schottenheimer and the Chargers. You assume home games are a huge advantage for you.
The Chiefs only have a 2nd and 11 to contend with on the offense of Breeze, and Breeze has hit his last 6, 8 of 10. Tomlinson again. Grabbed by Knight, hit by Ryan Sims. A flag down at the 21-yard line. The tackle made at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Drew Brees bled that to the very last second. Looked like he almost got to double zeros.
Hawkins, number 79, 10-yard penalty.
Mike Goff, who was injured earlier, now is back in.
They'll set up a 3rd and 11. They'll decline that penalty. The heck with backing him up. Well, they go to 2nd and 21. Thought they declined it.
Chiefs keep 4 in the secondary. 2nd and 21. They need the 37.
Well, for me, too, as a football fan, how often do you see 2nd and real long, 3rd and real long, defense gets soft and kind of backs up and plays conservative. I think this is the case. Kansas City has just flat got to attack Drew Brees in this offense.
Wilkerson is in for hits on the defensive line. 2nd down and 21. Brees got a block from Jordan. Passes outside for Gates. The tackle is made by Sammy Knight near the 27. Gain of 11 yards on the play.
You got 2nd and long. Get a handle on Gates. Get a bang on him. Kendrell Bell barely gets a hand on him, and that's just a gimme. That's just an easy, quick little 11 yards for Antonio Gates, and comes out of this huddle right here. This third-year player from Kent State, you better have at least 2 defenders dedicated to this tight end. If he's even close to open, Drew Brees will hit him.
3rd down and 10. 27. Great block by Neal, but now the pocket crumbles and the scrambling Brees is out to the 35. Hit by Bell, picks up 8 on 3rd and 10. And the Chargers have got a punt for a 2nd consecutive time. 3rd time in 4 possessions today.
It's a nice job up front by the defensive line of Kansas City, getting in Drew Brees' face, forcing the scramble, and the coverage down the field was in the perfect position. They had Gates covered, they had McCardell covered.
Cyphers to punt, and a guy who's returned 4 punts in his career for touchdowns, Dante Hall, awaits at the 30. Wind is at the back of the San Diego punter. David Benn will be the long snapper. Where the rush was on, there goes a flag. Bo Richter may have gotten a hand on it. And this from the 23-yard line is Dante Hall. Grabbed by Matt Wilhelm, a reserve linebacker at the 30. 42-yard punt, 7-yard return. Flag back where the guy punted it for the Chargers. Cyphers.
Personal foul, major face mask, offense number 96. The 2-yard penalty, still a 4th down.
That's Marcus Harris. Drafted out of Southern Utah State, he is a rookie.
There's Rich Scanlon's inside on that punt rush team. Dang near gets his helmet ripped off. And that's what Mike Carey was looking right at the inside of that punt rush, and he was looking right at it when it happened. Here's Scanlon's going to line up right there. Watch 91. Comes in the middle. See that head jack back like that? That's a hand underneath the face mask into the nose and eyebrows.
That's the first accepted San Diego team penalty. Cyphers again gets it away.
Return ball.
From the 31-yard line, Dante Hall slips on the turf, gets back up, brought down on the play by Phillips. 7-yard return, 49-yard punt. Our clock in the 2nd quarter at 4:22 from Arrowhead in Kansas City.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. Become an on-demand business. IBM can help. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call.
Monday on The Late Show, Dave Scott, Howard Stern, plus a special top 10 with Tom Hanks. Don't miss The Late Show with David Letterman all next week on America's #1 network, CBS.
Didn't they used to have brass here in Kansas City?
From the 43, Jacques Césaire is in the middle for Jamal Williams on that line for San Diego, starting this series. Green getting a good block from Welburn. And now being chased by Igor Olshansky, and wisely throws it away in back of the Charger bench.
You know, San Diego's ahead of this game 14-7, but they're really off on first down. They came into the game averaging 6 yards, and right now they're getting about 3 yards a crack. And part of that has to do with the pressure being put on, and specifically the job the young guy Sean Merriman's doing. I mean, he blocks a pass here by Trent Green. He's been in on runs, passes. He's been at right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker. He's lined up actually off the ball as sort of an inside linebacker a couple of times. So they're moving him around and trying to confuse Trent Green a little bit.
The two Chiefs tight ends are in the slot as receivers. 2nd down and 10, and outside it goes to Kennison. A block by Gonzalez, and the tackle from behind made by the aforementioned Sean Merriman at about the 48-yard line and a gain of about 9 yards on the play.
When we get our cameras out to the beginning of a play, keep track of 56. Watch he and Foley, 53, going back and forth, flipping and flopping because of what Kansas City does. And he's not always on the line of scrimmage. We've seen him do that a lot this year, but today more than ever, he's off the ball more as a true linebacker in some different positions. Being off the ball in that last play enabled him to make that tackle.
One receiver, two tight ends. Richardson in the backfield, third long one. This is Larry Johnson. Great block by Waters. Down he goes. Clinton Hart at the 45-yard line along with Donnie Edwards. Bring him down after a gain of 3. They'll move the chains for the Chiefs.
The heart of this offense. Waters 54, Wigman 62, Shields 68. Nothing spectacular, nothing gaping in the way of a hole, but it makes a soft spot. And it's really important when you're going against a guy like this kid Merriman and get a veteran like Dunn to be able to cancel him is a big plus for Kansas City.
3 Chiefs timeouts, 45-yard line. 5th possession of the day. Horn is the second receiver with Parker. Kennison is out. And Green looking for Parker, covered by Jammer. Incomplete pass. Monday on CBS, looking for the smartest, funniest new show on TV. See why critics everywhere call How I Met Your Mother one of the brightest new comedies of years. How I Met Your Mother. Monday on CBS, America's #1 network. In this game, the Chargers have scored on an 18-yard touchdown pass to Gates. The Chiefs have scored first on a 4-yard touchdown run by Johnson. They took the lead on a 42-yard touchdown pass to Parker. 2nd and 10, 45. Kennison back in. The 2 tights remain. Jamal Williams back on the defensive line for San Diego. He is chasing Larry Johnson. A fumble on the play at the 42-yard line. Jamal Williams knocked it away, and the Chiefs look to have reeled it back in.
That's the Chiefs' favorite play, too, 90 Storm, where you get Wigman coming out, you get Willie Roaf coming out, and you lead the way. Give Larry Johnson one of 2 ways to go, but watch Foley, 53, just rip that ball right out of Larry Johnson's hands.
Phillips has come in for Merriman. Gottfried is gone. And they bring in Matt Wilhelm. A 5th defensive back for the Charger defense is Fletcher, the former first-round pick by Miami. It's 3rd and 6 from the 40. And we are at the 2-minute warning with the Chiefs on the move with their 5th possession. Important game. 14-7 Kansas City.
On 2nd down, Tony Gonzalez was last pass play. Tony Gonzalez is running free for about a 15-yard gain. That's as we get this game wearing on and on. Taking advantage of Gonzalez in the middle of this field has become more and more critical for this offense.
Phillips and DeQuincy Scott on the defensive line for San Diego. 3rd and 6. And Green throws, broken up by Fletcher, the 5th defensive back, but a flag is thrown on a pass intended for Dante Hall.
Yeah, Jamar Fletcher had a grab of the backside arm. It looked like a Dante Hall.
Pass interference. Defense number 27. Foul.
It's a pretty nice little matchup, and right in there, Dante Hall going for the pass and that left hand on the arm.
So now the ball's at the 28. Parker is in. Bo Richter is in. Kennison, the triumvirate of receivers for the Chiefs. A 13-yard penalty. Johnson in the backfield. 5 in the secondary for the San Diego Chargers. Jamal Williams back on the defensive line. 1st and 10. Green. Larry Johnson. Through Fletcher. And down the sideline. High stepping it in and a touchdown. A 28-yard catch and run by Larry Johnson.
Eerily similar. Last Saturday, Kansas City was at New York, and Tiki Barber, on about a 20-yard run down the left sideline, broke several tackles and scored a big touchdown against this Kansas City defense. Larry Johnson gives a little bit of dance step, doesn't step out of bounds. A lot of shoulder, a lot of power, and a lot of bad tackling by the San Diego defense.
Which was the problem for the Chiefs last week against the Giants.
We talked about that coming into the beginning of the game, how important tackling was going to be. And I tell you, that's two examples of being overly impressed with a guy's power and not just using your fundamentals and putting your head across the bow.
We're under 2 minutes, so the replay booth is called for a review of the play.
Just to be safe, they want to be sure that we did not have a step out of bounds by Larry Johnson.
I thought he did a great job of keeping.
That was in there. That's in.
And then,
I mean, from here on out, it doesn't even get close, I don't think.
Florence and Fletcher couldn't bring him down.
Yeah, that was just a beautiful job by a running back taking advantage of bad tackling. I mean, Fletcher should have had him there. He slips through, and then Drayton Florence doesn't get him at the 10. And
I hope you folks had a chance to watch Leslie Visser sit down with him in our pregame show on the NFL Today, as he talked about the things that he's had to go through since he's been in Kansas City. It has been a rocky marriage at best, but there is no doubt without Larry Johnson, the Chiefs are not even in the playoff picture at this stage of the year. He has been terrific. As we said at the top of the show today, no running back has gained more yards since November 1st, since the third-year Penn State running back Johnson.
And there's many kind of reasons to be desperate here in Kansas City, Kevin. And besides the obvious that Johnson's kind of saved the offense, there's the questions about, will Dick Vermeil be back? There are questions about the two best linemen, Willie Roaf and Will Shields. Will they be back? Questions abound. It's one of the reasons they want to take advantage of this opportunity in Kansas City. They've blown several other chances this season to make this a less significant game. But once again, looking to see if there's any move out of bounds by any of those steps. And that ball definitely breaks the plane as he spins around.
And I think that's what they're looking at right now. Did he get over the pylon? Johnson has not caught a touchdown pass this season. He has 2 in his career.
Well, remember, the plane doesn't just stop. See, he's out of bounds with the foot. That's what he's looking at right there. He hits the pylon and steps out of bounds. They're trying to determine where that ball is at the point where he steps on the pylon.
I'm sure it's the pylon that Mike Carey is looking at right now.
Yeah, that was a great angle to see right there. From the other angle, it looked like he stepped in bounds.
Yes.
But he steps on the pylon and out of bounds. This ball might be on like the 1 foot yard line, the 1 foot line.
Johnson.
After reviewing the play, Warner had control of the ball. His foot hit the pylon, which is still in bounds for a good
touchdown.
That's the 8th time this season the Chiefs have scored in the final 2 minutes of the first half.
There's the end. The pylon is in bounds and the ball is over.
Extra point by Lawrence Tynes on a bad hole, which gets up there also. Kick is no good. The snap by Ed Perry was low, and Colquitt was holding. We'll have to take a look at that again.
Well, I've been here. Snap's got to be perfect. It is perfect. Colquitt mishandles it and gets the back of his hand kicked for his effort.
Ho, ho, ho! Here's to a year of saying no to redeeming credit card miles. Enjoy your...
Well as one of the receivers, along with the 2 starters, Cardell and Parker. These throws caught by Parker, hit by Sapp, incomplete. He dropped the ball. Sapp is the 5th defensive back, and the Chiefs are playing a nickel.
You watch this game suddenly at this stage of the game with the pain on the field and the rain and the mud, and you get a new player out there. They kind of stand out. Eric Hicks is in at defensive tackle, number 98. Hasn't been in much today, and you can really tell because his pants are dead white. I mean, clean, pure white.
Riche Caldwell's been taken out. Second tight end, Justin Peele, has been brought in for the Chargers. 2nd down and 10. 5 in the secondary for the Chiefs. 30-yard line. Breeze. Parker. Tackle made on the play by Surtain. Gain to about the 37, a pickup of 7. And a timeout taken. Looks like San Diego will burn their first timeout. 1:24 to play before the half.
Because that's the mode you're in all game long anyway.
3 down liner for the Chiefs. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and a long 2 after that timeout. 38-yard line. Breeze bobbled by the Pro Bowler Gates. Covered by Sammy Knight. And that means the Chargers have got a punt for a 3rd consecutive time. 4th time, Randy, in 5 possessions today. Boy, you don't see that much. Gates dropping a ball.
Well, yeah, and that one is just gunned right in the perfect spot where he should catch it. Yeah, it's on the right hip. Yeah, it's low. But on 3rd down and you're a Pro Bowler, you got to catch those.
Hall awaits the Cyphers punt. Hall from the 23-yard line and slips, and then Michael Turner falls on him at about the 26-yard line. 38-yard punt, 3-yard return. Gates couldn't hold on. Chargers have to give it back. Chiefs will get it. Larry Johnson's got 2 touchdowns today. He certainly felt the spirit of Christmas last night. He provided food and gifts to nearly 150 people at the Restart Homeless Shelter in the Kansas City area.
Now, San Diego only ran 32 seconds off the clock with that last possession, Kevin. So now Kansas City 3 timeouts, 1:13. Shoes on the other foot now. Kansas City's got plenty of time.
Starters are out there except for Fletcher as the 5th defensive back for the Chargers. 26-yard line, 1st and 10. Kennison, Hall, and Parker, the 3 wideouts. Johnson stood up and taken down. Big time hit inside made by Luis Castillo. Loss of 2, back to the 23-yard line.
Remember the first matchup? 28-20 was the score, San Diego. But San Diego dominated the first half like Kansas City is now.
I'm not a teacher, but I can.
One on the ground of 4 yards, a catch and run of 28 moments ago. And the extra point was no good. Otherwise, it'd be 21-7 Chiefs.
And that streak of nobody rushing for 100 yards seems to be seriously in danger with more than a half to go. And a few draws figured to be in the formula here.
After that timeout, 2nd down and 12 from the 24. No changes either way on offense or defense.
Easy.
Johnson, the block by Rofe. He cuts and then he is brought down. Edwards was there. They also had Drayton Florence make the stop. Gain of 6. They spot the ball at the 29, and there is a timeout, and the Chiefs burn their 2nd with 56 seconds to play in the first half.
Yeah, what makes this offense running game wise so special is you've got this play. This is to the left. 90 Storm. You're going to see Willie Rofe come out. You're going to see the center Wegman come out. Look, wait. And then Johnson goes. It's really special. When he gets that 2-way go, he can get out and wait. And does he go this way or does he go this way? It's his decision. There's the pivotal point to make your decision, and he chooses briefly inside, then back outside. It's wonderful, but it really takes advantage of the skills of one particular person, in my mind. 2, actually. Casey Wegman's a good pulling center, but Willie Rofe, at his size and his agility, is so unusual. And it's a nice job by Mike Solari, the offensive line coach, and Al Saunders, the offensive coordinator, of repeatedly getting back and back and back to the same play. Now, Willie Rofe says, once I hear it about, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, I start getting a little tired, so I'm not quite looking forward to it as much. But boy, can this guy run for a man his size.
3rd down and 6, 5 in the secondary. The starting defensive line out there for San Diego. Green has 3 receivers to work with, but he goes to his tight end, Gonzalez. Tackle made by Edwards. He got out of bounds. He gets a first down. He's to the 42. He picks up 12, Randy Cross, on 3rd and 6.
And just illustrates the point I was making earlier about how critical getting this guy involved is going to be. The natural spot you assume is inside, to dominate inside, but he evades Donnie Edwards, and then he has the presence of mind to get out of bounds and stop the clock, and preserving still 48 seconds on this clock and a timeout left for Kansas City.
Gonzalez is going back to the Pro Bowl again, a 7-time visitor to Honolulu. Both of Gonzo's catches today have been on 3rd down. Here's a 1st and 10 pass by Green. That is incomplete, uncatchable for Parker, who caught a touchdown pass earlier in the game. 2nd down and 10, 1 Kansas City timeout.
You're about 30 some odd yards away from field goal area for Kansas City, but the clock never moved. It's still at 48 seconds, and they ran a play. I gotta think you got to change that.
This crew's sharp.
45 seconds on the game clock, please.
42-yard line. 2nd down and 10. Still the 5 in the secondary. Defensive line still with Williams and Olshansky and Luis Castillo. They've got Stephen Cooper in place of Godfrey, but that normally happens on passing situations. 2nd down and 10. Johnson in there for pass blocking for Green. The catch made by Dante Hall and scampers out of bounds with some help from Drayton Florence. 44-yard line and a pickup of 3. Now the clock has no time on it. I know that didn't take all that time. We have had all kinds of clock issues here today, as you see the target line for Lawrence Tynes.
And that's in optimum conditions.
Yes.
These are not optimum conditions. You need to get the ball to about the 25-yard line.
We
to
did a game,
set up a 43-yarder.
We did a game with the New England Patriots as we take a look at this clock again.
See what?
Wow.
Okay, and this is a home game. Imagine if they were on the road.
3rd and 7
They'd
from the 45.
time.
And that's caught by Gonzalez, who's captured by Edwards, shy of midfield on a gain of 4. Chiefs have a timeout, and I believe they have just burned it. And again, the clock is showing double zeros. But you're talking about what a field goal kicker has to go through. In visiting with Adam Vinatieri, he said the one thing is it's the plant foot they were concerned about. So sometimes you don't plant as hard in turf like this and get your swing the best you can. But
well, it's a serious issue in this field because the middle of this field is just dead chewed up. And, you know, even for a guy like Colquitt who's going to get ready to punt here on 4th down, you know, he's got to be very careful about how he plants his plant foot.
33 seconds should be on the clock. You know, it's hard to believe that Arrowhead is one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL, but it is. And right now, and again in front of taxpayers, is they have gone through this song and dance in Kansas City for a long time. They're trying to say how much will the Chiefs pony up, how much will the Kansas City Royals right across the parking lot put up in their stadium renovation. And then they're talking about a sliding roof that may bring a Super Bowl to Kansas City in the next handful of years.
But honestly, as much as franchises are worth these days and as much money as NFL owners have, they have a hard time arguing why the public should give them money to build those stadiums. They shouldn't finance them themselves.
Colquitt will punt, and this, with a penalty flag down, is picked up by Parker, who is grabbed by Chris Horn at the 12.
It's going to be a running into the kicker or roughing the kicker.
That's a 39-yard punt.
Running into the kicker. Defense number 22. Only a 5-yard.
Only a 5-yard, yeah.
But the enforcement ends up in a 1st down.
It was 4th and 2, and may have surprised some. The Chiefs didn't go for it then, but as it turns out now, they are kissed, and they're going to get the ball back with the 1st and 10.
That was very, very smart, not going for it there. There was no reason to give that up, and Sammy Davis runs in to Colquitt and roughing and just splattering the kicker's a 15-yard kick penalty. And Mike Carey explained there it's just running into the kicker, and that's 5 yards.
Sammy Davis drew the yellow. Chiefs have a timeout. Chargers have a timeout. 24 seconds we're being told from the sideline remaining as the Chargers just absorbed their 5th penalty of the day. So the Chiefs of the timeout, 46-yard line of San Diego. Hall and Parker and Kennison are their 3 wideouts. 4 down linemen for the San Diego defensive line. Here is Green, hit as he throws, dropped by Hall, covered by the linebacker Donnie Edwards.
And really, the San Diego defense is doing a very nice job in this situation, limiting Kansas City to nibbles. You know, they want to take a chomp, They want to get a big one down the middle to Tony Gonzalez. They want to go down the sideline to Parker, but they're not letting him. Wade Phillips knows his opponent, and in this situation, they're taking the keep everything in front of you, make them throw short, and make them run after the catch.
Bo Richter is in. Hall is out. Hall just dropping his second pass of the day on that 2nd and 10. It's caught by Gonzalez in front of Fletcher. The gain is to the 38. Pickup of 8. Timeout Kansas City. They burn their final timeout. The clock is out. That's why you don't see it up there in the eye box. And we will try to get a 15 seconds, we're told, remaining in the first half.
So it's 3rd and short, and you're on the 38-yard line. You have 15 seconds left. You pretty much have, you know, 1 conservatively, maybe 2 if you really stretch it, but time for 1 good solid pass play to get the ball down the field, and you need to get it down the field another 15 yards to put yourself in a proper window. Get it down about the 23-yard line.
Looking at some of these scores in the bottom of the screen, which you folks at home can see. Miami winning again. They've won 4 straight.
And wait till you see get to that sprint halftime with
wow.
Cincy's leading 14-13. Houston was leading Jacksonville.
Now they got the 15 on the clock. Chiefs took over at their 26. 9th play of the drive coming up. 3rd and 2. 38 of the Chargers. 5 in the secondary. Fletcher is there. Wilhelm has come in as the nickel linebacker. And they've got Sean Phillips on the corner on the line. Green, here comes Foley. Pass caught by Larry Johnson, 34-yard line. Tackled on the play by Edwards. Gain of 4. Green quickly there and spikes it to stop the clock, which did not move. It was at 15 seconds.
There can't be more than 2 or 3 seconds left.
And of course, that works as a disadvantage, obviously, to the quarterback who's trying to beat the clock and 2 seconds remaining.
Well, that was a great job by Kansas City getting to the ball and spiking that ball, because normally that alone will take anywhere from 10 to 12 seconds if you're doing it perfectly.
Chiefs began this drive at their 25. A 12-yard catch and run by Tony Gonzalez gave them some breathing space. A penalty on Sammy Davis on a punt by the Chiefs gave the Chiefs new life. A first down, and here's what they've ended up with. The ball will go down at about the 43. It'll be a 53-yard try. The longest by Tynes in his career is 52.
You really got to concentrate on this. We've already seen a bobbled snap.
On a low snap by Perry.
Well, the snap actually was fine. No, the snap was fine.
You've been a long snapper.
Right, and I'm sticking up for the guy, really, because he has some bad ones.
Right.
That wasn't one of them. Right. Colquitt mishandled it, but the 2 things to watch are the hold, getting down, and the left foot of Tynes, because in this area you're looking at pretty soft dirt where you're planting that left leg down and putting some pretty good torque on it.
It's officially a 52-yard try. They just moved up a little bit. So Tynes, who has kicked a 52-yarder in his career, will try it. Colquitt will hold. Good snap, good hold. Nope. Not enough juice. That takes us to halftime. The Chiefs score on 2 Larry Johnson touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. A Parker 42-yard touchdown reception. Watching the NFL on CBS, America's #1 network.
Running backs in the running game. LaDainian Tomlinson has 8 carries for 13 yards. On 4 of those rushes of the 8, he's been held to no gain. And on the other side, Larry Johnson has just done a nice job getting his 80 yards behind a powerful offensive line. And he's also been able to add another 37 yards in receiving yards, which is unusual for him.
So a look at our numbers through the first 30 minutes of football. This game is being brought to you in high definition where available.
But remember, when they met earlier in the year, San Diego, as much as Kansas City dominated this first half, San Diego dominated that first half, and then Kansas City came blazing back to make it close.
It's the rookie Sproles from the 3-yard line for the San Diego Chargers with some blockers ahead, and he just trips down at about the 30-yard line. And the tackle made by Brown, the reserve running back, a 27-yard return.
Yeah, if it rains any more on this field and it becomes more of a factor, these quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers will learn real quickly that straight line runners have an advantage. And Johnson's much more of a straight line runner than Tomlinson, and Dante Hall and Sproles have slipped and slid. And it's going to become more of a tight end and straight line runner kind of a second half.
Jackson is out there as a receiver. 1st and 10. LaDainian Tomlinson finding room, and he breaks a tackle of Kawika Mitchell and takes it out near midfield. A 20-yard gallop. He's down at the 49-yard line. Wesley finally catches up to him. Tomlinson on the move.
I tell you, a real advantage, and he's going to the Pro Bowl, and everybody knows it, is this guy right here, Lorenzo Neal. He does a nice job no matter where the play is designed to go. Here he gets Warfield, and LaDainian Tomlinson does just what I was talking about, kind of a straight line run right up the field.
Starters out there for offense and defense as we start this second half. There's a block by Dielman. And going inside is LaDainian Tomlinson. Bell making a stop on the play on a gain of 4 near the 47-yard line.
Did you notice when Tomlinson got that ball and he went to his right and he started to make a cut, his right foot kind of slid out from underneath him? And that's why with these conditions, and it rained as hard as it did before the game and whatnot, and you can tell from all the dye and whatnot on the jerseys. Here's the slide right here. Zip.
Jackson is in for McCardle as a wide receiver. 2nd down, 6. Tomlinson grabbed by Mitchell. Brought down near a 1st down. 43-yard line. Pick up a 4. This is the 6th possession for the San Diego Chargers. Last 3 consecutive punts. A touchdown was an 18-yard toss to Gates. Now Jackson is out. McCardell is back in.
And Tomlinson comes out of the game, and Michael Turner comes in. He had that big run last week against Indianapolis to seal the deal.
Chiefs stay with their 4-3-4 defense. Gates is on the move. Neal is in the backfield, and Neal gets the call. Tackled by Hicks as the 2 go diving near the 41-yard line. They'll be close to a 1st down. Neal hasn't carried that much. That's only the 29th carry of the season.
Yeah. What was Austin Powers' line? Throw me a bone here, will you? That's sort of what they do to Lorenzo Neal every once in a while. Marty Schottenheimer has him bruising his forehead most of the time on lead blocks. They'll occasionally give him a ball and a quick hitter like that, or toss him a little quick pass. But he is such a physical blocker. Been doing it so long. College really was known as a college heavyweight wrestler,
right,
more than he was a football player, and really comes in handy when you get in that close line work as a fullback in this league. They have that kind of balance and strength combination.
And Randy, when he works out in the offseason, it's the traditional football type workouts he do, but he also does a lot of boxing with ranked boxers to keep the arms moving and the legs going and the nice bounce in his step. So they get the 1st down.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kevin, if you want to be a 1,000-yard rusher, you tell your coach, go get me Lorenzo Neal. We've got a pretty good offensive line. We'll finish the deal off. And they're in a more valuable player to LaDainian Tomlinson than that guy right there.
The ball is just beyond the 42, so officially at the 41. As the Chargers have run it 4 consecutive times.
And San Diego's coming off 4 straight punts, too.
Turner is still in the backfield for LT. Gates is the man in motion. Fake to Turner, who offers a block, and it goes outside to Gates, who slips, and then Johnson brings him down at the 40-yard line. It's a gain of a yard. We take you to our studios in New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Kevin, thank you. For Jacksonville, a win, and they're in. LeBrandon Tofield, his 2nd touchdown of the day. 2 carries, 3 yards, 2 TDs for him. 17-13, Jaguars late in the 3rd.
Jacksonville can win, Greg, their first playoff berth since 1999. 2nd down and 9 from the 40. First possession by either team in the second half.
That year in '99, they went to the AFC Championship game.
Good call. Breeze will blow that dead in mid-motion.
Start offense number 70. 5-yard penalty till 2nd down.
Shane Olivier. They're going to bring in another tight end, Peel, will the Chargers, and they take out Turner.
Wasn't much of a flinch by Shane Olivier, but especially when you're on the road, you can't move a muscle. you got to concentrate so hard on that snap count. And it's not that loud in here right now for Arrowhead Stadium, so being able to hear the snap should not be an issue.
Tomlinson is in, 2nd and 14, 45. Breeze throws, and it's caught near the 30-yard line and grabbed by Eric Parker. It's a 16-yard gain on 2nd and 14, a first down. Let's go to Greg Gumbel.
All right, thank you, Kevin. You know, Buffalo can erase a Cincinnati lead in a hurry. On the kickoff, 99 yards, the first return for a touchdown of any kind this year allowed by the Bengals. And the Bills lead Cincinnati 20-17 in the third.
And you know, Terrence McGee had 3 returns last year for touchdowns. That was a big part of the Bills' success. 1st and 10, LaDainian Tomlinson shoved out of bounds by Surtain. Near the 25, gain of 5 yards.
Well, something you don't see real often in this league, and I think it's something that shouldn't really happen, is have a back as good as LaDainian Tomlinson, and very few of the people up in front of him really get recognized, Pro Bowl-wise, All-Pro-wise. Good, solid offensive line here in San Diego, and the only Pro Bowl blocker is going to be the fullback, Lorenzo Neal.
Junior Seavey has come in on the defensive line, taking the place of Lionel Dalton. 2nd down and 5. Tomlinson tripped up on the play by Derek Johnson, and then he lost his footing and lands at the 23 on a gain of 3.
Remember, we talked about the yards that LaDainian Tomlinson didn't have coming into this second half. You know, so far just on this drive, he's got 36 yards rushing. So they're getting that shortest point distance between two points being a straight line. That straight line running, and LT's gotten off to a good start in the second half.
Chiefs have been in their 4-3-4 defense this entire San Diego drive. 3rd and a long 2. The drive began back at the 29. Neal atop your screen is a receiver. He's the fullback, and they go over the middle. Caught by LaDainian Tomlinson. Grabbed on the play by, looked like Eric Hicks at the 17 and a gain of 6 yards.
That was a zone blitz look. Hicks was dropped off into coverage. And it was a nice job of patience by Drew Brees, because when he first initially went back, you see that hesitation?
Yes.
That's because of the defense. You know, and it's easy to say, well, gee, just throw it, but you can't recognize all the time what some of these defenses do when they drop off into these zone blitz. Good patience by Brees, dumping it off there to the LT for that first down.
10th play of the drive, 1st and 10. Brees will float one to Tomlinson. Intercepted on the deflection and picked off at the 15-yard line and grabbed on the play by Patrick Surtain. The first turnover of the game. And Surtain with his 3rd pick of the year.
Right through LT's hands. Great catch by Surtain.
Surtain, who is the big-name free agent signed from Miami this offseason, comes up with a big play because the Chargers were close to scoring.
And everything has that kind of fine, sloppy glaze on it, and the ball slipped right through LT's hands.
1st and 10. It's Green outside. That is dropped. Hall has dropped 2, and that's Kennison dropping 1 right there. This comes, of course, in the wake of Kansas City's 5th red zone takeaway this season.
And that was a case of taking your eyes off the ball, but LT right here, he's looking at it the whole way. He sees it go through his hands, and to Surtain's credit, he catches that ball perfectly, and Drew Brees knows they have no room for error. There is no well if and formulas and whatnot. They have got to win this game.
Every defensive starter is out there for the Chargers. 2 tight ends for the Chiefs, 2nd and 10, 16-yard line. Larry Johnson, following a block by Waters, collides inside at the 20-yard line. Boy, it's hard to read the numbers now, and I'm trying to, that's Castillo who makes the tackle. 4-yard gain.
Yeah, that's an element too, Kevin, of this football game that they can really take advantage of. Kansas City with a 13-point lead. They just start running the ball, be very patient, take their time in and out of the huddle. They can eat this clock slowly up and take away hope for San Diego.
Parker and Hall and Kennison, the receivers. It's 3rd down and 6. They go to Parker, and the grab is made for a first down at the 27. Belted on the play by Jammer. A 7-yard gain on 3rd and 6 for the Chiefs.
We talked about this a few times, and you get it running back. Johnson comes out, and you've got Tony Richardson back there. That means pass. it's coming. Count on it. You know, even 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, no real chance of a draw, no chance of a sweep. It's going to be a pass. Richardson's there to block, and Johnson's there to take a breather and get ready for the next running play.
The 2 tight ends are in. Johnson is back in the game. Being chased by Castillo. Incomplete to Gonzalez. 2nd down and 10. Well, tomorrow on 60 Minutes, the tsunami hit a year ago on Christmas. How did one group of people know ahead of time that it was coming? Plus, Tina Turner at 60 Minutes tomorrow on CBS. Short week. We're playing today, and most games, of course, are on Sunday, so the teams have had to kind of work on a different schedule, although the Chiefs didn't because they played last Saturday.
I don't know about you, but Mike's sort of football body clock's been off a day all week long.
Agree.
It's felt weird being on Saturday.
It has, I agree. 2nd down and 10, 27. And number 27 has it. Godfrey's got him. Shy of the 30. Mark him down at the 27. Gain of a yard for Larry Johnson.
Sort of check back up on this thing with Larry Johnson when he's in and what happens. He's done a heck of a job when he's in, not only running the ball, but also as a receiver. And 10 out of 10 times when he's been out, it's been a pass.
Fletcher has come in the secondary for the Chargers. Wilhelm has come in as the nickel linebacker. And they've got DeQuincy Scott and Phillips on the defensive line for San Diego.
Trent Green, 8 of 9 on 3rd down, 6 of which for first downs.
3rd and 9. There goes Bo Richter on the move. He's the 3rd receiver with Green firing outside and dropped by Kennison. Covered by Jammer. And the Chiefs can't cash in on the interception by Surtain and have got to punt the ball.
Well, mission accomplished by the San Diego defense. They didn't get hurt too badly by that red zone turnover. Now they're going to get the ball back in decent position. And now it just takes, it gets into the finishing mode. If you're Marty Schottenheimer and the San Diego Chargers, mistake time is over. Now's the time to finish a game.
The rookie Colquitt will punt to Eric Parker. Poor punt off the side of his foot. Wobbling out of bounds, landing near the 40-yard line. That was a bad one. So he's had a tough time holding the ball on a snap. And that's off the side of his foot, a 34-yard boot with 6:53 to play in the 3rd from Kansas City. After an interception by Breeze. So this is the second half possession for San Diego from the 39, 1st and 10. Breeze again. This is Parker outside, chased by Bell and belted by Knight. He's to the 47-yard line, picking up 8 yards. And there's a lot on the line, Randy, for both teams today, obviously.
And the reason Marty Schottenheimer's team is in this position is kind of what you've seen today. You've seen some very impressive football from the Chargers, but you've also seen some very unimpressive things done by the Chargers, one of which is that last turnover in a critical area.
2nd down and 2. The pitch out goes to LaDainian Tomlinson, hit by Kavika Mitchell. Loss of a yard back to the 45-yard line.
You know, the one thing, again, you have to pay attention to is the lack of the ability by the skilled players to change direction significantly. Coming from the inside out, running on that straight line are the linebackers. LT and the runners, be it Larry Johnson or whoever, can't change direction in this kind of muddy, sloppy field. Advantage to the defenders running downhill.
Riche Caldwell is the 3rd receiver. Sapp is the 5th defensive back. Hall has come in for Ciavi on the line. It's 3rd and 3. Breeze plops it over the head of LaDainian Tomlinson, covered by Kawika Mitchell on the near side, and they got a punt.
We have not seen a sack yet in this football game, but that doesn't mean that Marty Schottenheimer's quarterback, Drew Brees, hasn't been under some pretty good duress from the Kansas City defense. Gunther Cunningham's scheme has been designed at frustrating Brees not only in the pocket, but also down the field.
3rd 3 and out for the Chargers. Cyphers to punt. Hall is deep back. High hanging punt, which Hall will let bounce and die. Good punt of 44 yards by Cyphers. The clock at 5:25 in the third. That's next on CBS. In the muck here in Kansas City, the Chiefs have it 1st and 10 at the 10. Larry Johnson runs into his own blocker, then is suffocated at about the 10-yard line. Loss, in fact, of about a yard on the play. He was gang tackled across the way.
The real difference today, though, for me has been the play of this Kansas City offensive line and the running of Larry Johnson. And as much as San Diego came into the game as the #1 rushing defense in the league, had not allowed a 100-yard rusher coming in, they've been very methodical and very complete in the way they've been playing. You see the yards per rush, and it's been not only good execution, but good patience by Al Saunders, the coordinator, sticking with it.
Starters in there defensively for San Diego. Dunn just took the place of Richardson as the fullback, and here's the handoff, and it goes to Johnson. And Larry picks up about 3 yards on the play. Brought down by Luis Castillo. He's out to the 13.
Well, Castillo's a young man that Marty Schottenheimer speaks glowingly of, and for all the right reasons, not only the work ethic, learning to be a pro, but as another one of this great freshman class, if you will, of the San Diego Chargers. He's got a motor you can't teach. I mean, guys that are this size, you just don't teach them to go that hard every single down. It sounds like it should happen all the time because they're getting paid, but trust me, it doesn't.
2 tight ends. Richardson has taken the place of Larry Johnson. 3rd and 8. A 5th defensive back is Fletcher for San Diego. And Green throws. That's caught by Tony Gonzalez. Brought down on the play by Clinton Hart, who's taken the place of Terrence Keel today. The gain to the 32. It's a first down, a pickup of 19 yards.
Oh, that's a 2-for-1 right there. Not only does that give you the first down, it keeps the clock running, and it enters a new part of the equation. Is this inside receiving by Tony Gonzalez?
How about the terrific 3rd down conversions of the Chiefs today?
The reason he's had that kind of conversion is because of the protection he's getting from that offensive line. Gonzalez himself has 3 catches on 3rd down.
Johnson back in. The handoff to Larry Johnson on 1st and 10. Brought down by Igor Olshansky. Gain of 4 to the 37. Let's go to Greg in New York.
Kevin, thank you. Seesaw football game taking place in Cincinnati. Carson Palmer, 27 yards for Chris Henry, right up the sideline. 24-20. Bengals regain the lead. Plenty of time to play in the 4th quarter, guys.
And Palmer has more touchdown passes than any other quarterback this season in the NFL.
That's a dangerous team in Cincinnati Marvin Lewis has put together. They are an extremely confident football team.
Bo Richter and Kinnis in the wideouts. 2nd down and 5. Larry Johnson breaking 1 tackle. Still on his feet and up to the 47-yard line. Eventually brought down by Foley and by Edwards. A 10-yard run and another first down for the Chiefs.
Well, if LaDainian Tomlinson's kind of like a greased pig, Larry Johnson's kind of like a greased, I don't know, Volkswagen bug. He just running and running and running. He's over 100 yards now for the 8th straight game, and the first running back to do it against this Chargers defense.
In 17 games, that was the longest active streak in the NFL. Last guy to do it, Cleveland Brown running back Lee Suggs. 47-yard line, 1st and 10. Johnson here is hit by the linebacker Cooper, driven back a couple yards to the 45.
And remember what Larry Johnson's done in the time span he's achieved it. And I know he's been here a few years, but last year he played when Priest Holmes went out, and this year at about the mid-season point when they played San Diego and Holmes went out, he started this streak, 8 straight games with over 100 yards. And there's not a whole lot of, deception to the way Larry Johnson runs. He gets some great blocking up front. He runs hard, and if he has to hit you, he's going to hit you hard. 2
tight ends, defensive starters in there for San Diego. 2nd down and 12. And that's caught by Eddie Kennison, who's had a drop or 2 today. Brought down by Drayton Florence. It's a 10-yard pickup. He's down to the 45 to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Hey, Kevin, those Pittsburgh Steelers are playing like they're playoff bound. Ron Haynes, 15 yards and a touchdown. This stretches the Steelers' lead to 34-0 over the Cleveland Browns. 11:40 to play in the 4th.
And Haynes was trying to become the first 1,000-yard rusher for the Steelers since Bettis in 01. They're down in 2. That's a run for Larry Johnson. Did I say Haynes? I meant Parker, excuse me. Gain of 3 on the play. That's Larry Johnson running, and the ball is down at the 42-yard line.
As good as this running game is here in Kansas City, you're really the standard has been set by that Pittsburgh Steelers offense you just saw in that last update from New York. I mean, Russ Grimm, their offensive line coach, and that Steelers offense really embodies the personality of that football team. And in order for Kansas City to get what it really wants this year, that offensive line has to take this game over and the next game, and hopefully there's a game after that.
Chiefs on top 20-7 over San Diego at the end of 3. You're watching the NFL on CBS, America's #1 network.
Jenna Elfman joins our Monday night lineup. Good thing it's our
The fourth quarter with the Chiefs on the move. Drive that began back at the 11-yard line. 1st and 10, San Diego's 42. Johnson remains in there for pass blocking. Dropped by Gonzalez, covered by Godfrey. No yellow on the field. That is the 5th dropped pass by a Kansas City receiver today.
I was looking right at this. You got to remember, both players have a right to that area. And I don't think Godfrey got around him early. I think there was contact. But it was initiated by Gonzalez and finished by Godfrey. That's some good defense right there by Randall Godfrey.
2 tight ends in the game. 10th play of the Kansas City drive. Starters out there defensively for the Chargers. No changes. Larry Johnson. And tripped up by Donnie Edwards. Corkscrewing his way to the 39 on a gain of 3. It's Larry Johnson. Well, the NFL today, we told you about Leslie Visser's visit with Larry Johnson. Other things the guys talked about.
What a heavy heart. What a heavy heart those Colt football players, that whole organization has to have after the death of Tony Dungy's young son.
Fletcher is in as a 5th defensive back for the San Diego Chargers. Hall has come in as a receiver with Parker. 3rd and 7. Kennison is the 3rd receiver on the move. Blocked by Richardson. Low pass. And they say it was caught at the 35. Sammy Parker brings it in. Florence brought down Parker. Gain of 5. Now you're left with 4th and a couple. What do you do?
4th and a couple in this situation with about 14 minutes to go. Well, if you're going to go with Larry Johnson, but I'm not sure if you don't pooch punt this instead of giving him the ball in this kind of field position if you don't get it. Maybe try to draw them off sides, and if they don't draw off sides, then you kick. It's all up to your offensive line, to your power guys up front if you decide to do this.
4th and a long 2. Olshansky and Castillo and Jamal Williams on that defensive line for the Chargers. The Chiefs burn their first second-half timeout. 13:33 in the 4th. 4th and 3 after that timeout by the Chiefs at the 35 of San Diego.
Almost used 7 minutes on this drive. This will be the 12th play. This is using the ground and eating up the clock. But if they don't get it here, it's a great big plus for San Diego.
From the 35, Hall is on the move. Out to Larry Johnson. Chased by Castillo. Has the first down and tripped up on the play by Clinton Hart.
Down by contact.
11-yard pickup. Markham at the 24-yard line. First down.
What a nice call by Al Saunders, because you've got the San Diego defense just going to the wall, screaming after Trent Green, and just a little soft dump off. And you get an idea today of seeing the expanded abilities of Larry Johnson. You've seen him as a receiver do some very nice things besides running the ball when he's handed it.
The Chiefs are going to take a timeout, which means they've got one remaining. On this drive, they've got 4 first downs. 12:44 to play in the 4th. 13th play of this drive coming up, starting back at the 11. They just called a timeout. 1st and 10, 24-yard line. Bo Richter is one of the receivers along with Parker. There are 2 tight ends in for Trent Green and Larry Johnson. Grabbed and brought down on the play by Jamal Williams. Gain of 2 to the 22.
See what the Chiefs here need. Besides the obvious of winning their last 2 games, they need this to occur for them. Pittsburgh's ahead right now 34-0. So if they're going to lose one, it's going to have to be the next one because it's not going to be this one. And Jacksonville is battling right now with Houston down in Houston. So the formula stays alive for Dick Vermeil and the Chiefs.
Kennison has taken the place of Bo Richter. 2nd down 8. Johnson in the backfield from the 22. Here comes Foley, and Green doesn't see him or feel him. And the first sack of the game is notched by San Diego. The loss back to the 32. It's a loss of 9.
And that's Foley going against the Pro Bowler Willie Rolfe at left tackle. Coming around this left side. Right here. Look at the shoulders of Willie Rolfe pointing that way. He can't catch up with the speed of Foley. When an offensive lineman gets his shoulders out of whack to what the defender's doing, he has got no chance. Even if he's a Pro Bowler and an excellent athlete like Willie Rolfe, he just could not handle the speed of Foley off the edge.
Richardson is in on the 3rd and 18. Larry Johnson is down to about the 28. Brought down on the play by Donnie Edwards, who is the 5th leading tackler in the NFL, a gain of 4.
You know, as bad as Lawrence Tynes' last field goal was, I'm not sure if you don't punt right here.
Well, Tynes has had a couple blocked this season already.
Well, he's not getting much power on the ball. He's not getting much altitude on the ball. I think you're better off just pooching this ball in. I thought Vermeil was just saying asking for a timeout to his quarterback, but I'm not sure Trent Green has gone for that. That would be their 3rd and final.
Right. Clocking continuing to run under now 11 minutes.
Yeah. They're better off not taking the timeout, losing the 5 yards, and then punting it.
Randy, they took the timeout. They're out of timeouts now on the clock at 10:53.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're better off taking the 5 yards and punting it.
Surprised. 14 of San Diego and no timeouts for the Chiefs.
I love the drive, but this has been some bizarre timeout usage.
2 tight ends. Richardson in the backfield. And a defensive line which numbers 4. Charging at Green. Dumping it off, looking for Richardson. The coverage on the play by Jammer. There's no yellow on the field, and on downs, San Diego takes over with plenty of time on the clock.
And no timeouts on the Kansas City sideline and only a 13-point lead. This could come back to bite you.
So he's not. Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good. And by the all-new Civic from Honda. It'll reverse your thinking.
Chiefs just lost it on downs. San Diego takes over. 1st and 10. Fake to Tomlinson. Breeze hit by Jared Allen and devoured back near the 20-yard line. That's the first Kansas City sack. A loss of 8 on the play. And for the young Jared Allen, his 11th sack of the year.
Remember what we talked about, that speed rush by Foley earlier? This is a speed rush by Jared Allen right off that left shoulder of Leonard Jordan, the left tackle. Excellent technique. Just going right through the tackle. Good use of your hands. Excellent use of your feet.
2nd down, 18. The Chiefs starters are on the defensive side. Back at the 20 for Breeze. Here they come again. Here comes Allen again. And Breeze dancing his way to the 26-yard line and leveled on the play by Bell and Dalton, and a gain of 6 on the fly.
Yeah, we've seen this San Diego Chargers team in about the last 6 weeks or so. Last time we saw them was in Washington, and this offense right now looks a little bit like they did in that offense for Marty Schottenheimer. They just look off. Drew Brees looks really off his game, and his offense in general just looks very out of pace.
Wilkerson is on the defensive line. A 5th defensive back has been inserted. 3rd down and 12. Good block by Gates as Breeze winds up and incomplete to McCardle. Covered by the 5th defensive back, Benny Sapp.
Well, who was the weapon in the first half when San Diego was moving the ball well? It was Antonio Gates. He's only got one catch this half, and you mentioned the perfect reason why. He was blocking on the last play.
Second straight 3 and out. You know, the Chargers have had 2 fourth-quarter comebacks this year, ironically enough, in their last 2 road games at Washington and at Indy last week. Do they have another one in them today? Hall fumbles the ball at the 30, and then Phillips lands on Hall at the 31. This January, get ready for a whole new generation of comedy and romance when Jenna Elfman stars Courting Alex, coming to CBS Monday, January 23rd. Chargers just punted. They've had it 8 times today as San Diego. 8 possessions, 6 punts, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. The Chiefs lost it on downs the last time. They punted their first second-half possession. From the 32, they've got it 1st and 10. Larry Johnson, Gonzalez with the block. Tackle made by Edwards. Knocking him out of bounds at about the 36-yard line and a gain of 5.
Well documented the travels of this San Diego Chargers football team this year, but how ironic after all that traveling, the most significant game was from a team going here and going that way. Miami 2 weeks ago went into San Diego and beat the Chargers, and will turn out to be the football game they'll live to regret in the world of San Diego Charger football.
No timeouts for the Chiefs. 2nd down and 5 from the 37. Green takes it himself. And then he is grabbed by Donnie Edwards. 3-yard gain, 40-yard line. Still a couple yards shy of the first down. That wasn't a busted play, was it?
It was just a personal call. Looked like he saw something he needed to see, and Casey Wegman gave him the old goose.
Is that what you linemen call it?
No, you call it other things.
Goose.
A nice word for it is goose.
Yeah. 3rd and 2. Chiefs are 10 of 16 on 3rd down conversions today. No changes defensively for the Chargers. Starters are there from the 40 for the Chiefs. Larry Johnson, a block by Richardson. Johnson's got the first down, brought down by Stephen Cooper. Flag is down after the gain of 7 to the 47-yard line.
It's a holding against the Chiefs.
Holding. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
Rofe has gotten a plateful of the guys in the corner today for the Charger defensive line.
There's big Willie Rofe right there. Gets called for the holding. He's pulling out on the play, working on the outside linebacker. See the arms wrapped around, though? Remember I said earlier about hands inside the frame of the body? If you have the hands inside the frame, which is basically armpit to armpit, for lack of a better term, you get it outside there onto the sides. Very easy for an official to see it, and it's an automatic flag.
2 tight ends. Johnson is out. Richardson is in. It's 3rd and 12. Here's Green stumbling out of the pocket. Flags just litter the field as Trent Green.
That's a hold on Jason Dunn working against Sean Merriman.
Maneuvers his way, and then he's finally brought down by Godfrey. He's a 34-year-old quarterback who is in his 12th season in the NFL.
Offense number 89. 10-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
It's Jason Dunn. He's one of the great blocking tight ends in the National Football League for the last 5-6 years.
Well, the last one against Willie Rofe was probably a bad hold. This might be a good hold, because if you don't hold Sean Merriman, he's going to hit your quarterback. So it's almost one you're willing to take and have them throw the flag. Now, San Diego doesn't want the penalty. They want the ball a lot worse.
So the Chiefs have got a punt. Colquitt, the rookie, is back inside his 20. Undrafted Eric Parker, a couple years in the NFL, back inside his 40 for San Diego. And a bad snap by Ed Perry. The rush comes on by Vincent Jackson. The punt lands where you see inside the 40-yard line. Perry is taking the place of the Pro Bowler Kendall Gammon with a long history of this at Miami of accurate snapping, but he's had a tough day today.
Had to go high and wide. You'll see contact, but it's all about the snap.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by UBS, a global financial firm with the heart and soul of a two-person organization, you and us. And by the voice-activated Acura TL, a higher form of performance.
The Chiefs just punted. Chargers 9th possession. Previous 8 possessions, 6 punts. 39-yard line. 1st and 10. Justin Peele is a second tight end for Breeze. Outside for Tomlinson. Glides out of bounds about the 42. Gain of 3 on the play. And brought down by Warfield near midfield. He has the first down, picking up 9 on 2nd down and 7. It's the Chargers' first down since early in the 3rd quarter.
And they stay into this pace of the offense they've been in. It's been a stumbling start to this second half, but right now getting a little hop to it. But the key to me is finding Antonio Gates and getting him back involved.
Chiefs have 5 defensive backs, 50-yard line. 1st and 10 throw, dropped by Tomlinson. He's dropped a couple today. In fact, that's the 3rd drop, one of which went through his hands and was picked off by the Chiefs.
Sort of interesting what they're doing a lot to Gates. It's why they're going the other way on such a consistent basis. Is, you know, every time he leaves the line of scrimmage, a defender picks him up for about 10 yards. Once he goes past about 10 yards, then the safety picks him up. They're handing him off, but at all times he's being covered.
Only one starter on the Chiefs defensive line. They've got Browning and they've got Wilkerson and they've got Hall, and Allen is in there. 2nd down and 10, 50-yard line. Tight end Peele goes out after being next to Breeze in the backfield. Pass is short, incomplete, looking for McCardell, and the coverage by Patrick Surtain.
That was all about the contact on Drew Brees. Drew Brees had the time, he was getting the protection, and then at the very end it just breaks down. Watch the pocket form, and then slowly but surely it gets squeezed down on him. Time to go. That was Eric Hicks coming in there at the very end, pushing the pocket back into Brees' lap.
5 defensive backs, 1 starter on the defensive line for the Chiefs. 3rd down and 10, they need the 40. Turner is in the backfield with Peele and Breeze. Breeze throws, caught by McCardell. Grabbed in the play by Sammy Knight. 41-yard line, gain of 9, close to a first down.
Just short of a first down. It's 4th and short, there's no decision here.
That's a first down in over a year that McCardell has not converted on 3rd down. 4th and 1. Peele, the receiver, along with, well, he changes places with Gates. Turner in the backfield. Then on that 4th and a yard, Breeze comes close. I think they feel he submarined and got it.
Yeah, he did. Got right in there behind his center and his left guard. So he ducked in there behind Dielman and Nick Hardwick to get that first down.
Tomlinson is back in. Peele remains. So 2 tight ends in there for Breeze. 5 in the secondary for the Chiefs. 40-yard line. 1st and 10. Outside McCardell. And grabbed by Surtain. And the gain is to about the 33-yard line. Gain of 5. McCardell's got 5 receptions today, and he has been that was his 6th right there. And he now has tied Steve Largent for number 10 in the history of the NFL. 2nd and short, 5. Sims and Dalton back on the defensive line along with Hicks for the Chiefs. So the starting line back out there for Kansas City. And just out of the reach of LaDainian Tomlinson on the throw by Breeze, and Tomlinson saw nothing but 6 ahead of him.
And he saw nothing but overthrows. Where there was nothing but that in front of him. But watch what happens with all these blitzers. Gunther Cunningham has seen that Drew Brees is off his game. And what's the best thing to do to a quarterback who is off his game? Come after him. Make him think. Make him commit. Make him be accurate.
Parker is one receiver. McCardell is the other. Tomlinson stays, 2 tight ends, 3rd and a short 5 from the 34. And the long pass, intent for the double team Gates, incomplete. They had Sammy Knight down there. Sapp was down there as well. 4th down.
I mean, they'll always throw to Gates when he's double teamed. He comes up through the slot. He's going to be double teamed inside and out, but he can't jump. So he never really has the opportunity to gather his body and go up for that pass, because that's exactly where Breeze puts it, is where only he thinks Gates can get at it.
Gates has only had 1 second half reception. 4th and 5. They need the Chiefs 29. Tomlinson remains. Breeze has got to run, needing the 29, has the 1st down. Clobbered by Kawika Mitchell. He's down to the 27-yard line on a gain of 7. Big play by last year's Pro Bowler, Drew Brees.
And he does it because of the coverage down the field. Jared Allen gets stuck inside. Jordan gets him down inside. That opens up the scrambling lane for Drew Brees, so he's able to get that 1st down. But this Chiefs defense is doing an excellent job down the field so far covering.
Michael Turner is in, 1st and 10. 26-yard line of Kansas City. Breeze, and the diving attempt is made by Parker, and it was down incomplete at the 11. Incomplete.
Drew Brees looked like he was throwing darts here to the specific spot where the ball is. Does Parker get his hands underneath it? Now, I don't know. Initially, it looks like it does contact the ground right there. It's on the ground. That is not a catch. Great call.
2nd down 10, 12th play of the drive. Turner remains, the 2 tight ends in. Vincent Jackson is the new receiver, coupled with Breeze. And here comes the sack, and John Browning brings him down.
And a flag down.
The loss back to the 40. Flag is on the field.
I think it's going to be an encroachment against the Chiefs.
Offside defense, number 69, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, so 2nd down.
Jared Allen.
Now, from the side angle, it's pretty easy to see. There's the ball right here that pretty much goes right through the head of Jared Allen, lining up off sides.
Hard to believe we've had a scoreless 2nd half. Isn't that something?
Well, we've had kind of an offensive clueless moments, except for the 1 long drive by Kansas City at last possession.
2nd and 5, 12th play of the drive. Tomlinson is back in. On the 22. Seavey now on the defensive line for the Chiefs, charging at Breeze and outside. Going for McCardle, and they say he grabbed the ball, but the other official says no, he bobbled it. Surtain was covering, incomplete pass. One guy said yes, one guy said no.
Well, that's the case of the timing and the accuracy just off. Because McCardell is clearly open, has to go out and try to make this catch.
Did you challenge that with 3 timeouts remaining?
Ball hit the ground.
Okay.
I wouldn't bother, because I'd have people upstairs that just saw that ball hit the ground and say, no, don't challenge it.
So now, 3rd and 5. From the 22. Caldwell's the 3rd receiver. Breeze for Gates, incomplete. Breeze has been off. Coverage by Knight.
Yeah, it's hard to say if it's been just the pressure, if it's been the conditions. You know, his hand is wet. You know, the ball is kind of slimy, especially in the spot where it's snapped from. He's wearing gloves on both hands, so that right glove is, no matter what it's made of, it's got to have mud on it and water on it. And God knows from the look of that field, it's got some muck on it.
Caldwell to the bottom of your screen, and McCardle in the slot. Parker atop your screen. 4th and 5. They need the Kansas City 17. Last time, Breeze ran it himself. This time, throws incomplete to McCardle. Covered by Sapp, the 5th defensive back. And on downs, the Chargers turn it over with 3.5 to play in the game.
That is part coverage that is part pressure by a guy like Jared Allen and a little cooperation from a quarterback in Drew Brees. Not a very good throw, but then again, not much to throw it at. You've got an offense here for San Diego that Cam Cameron, their coordinator, had a plan going in, and as an offense, as a group, they have failed to execute the plan. And the person that usually takes the most flack when you don't execute a plan is naturally going to be the quarterback.
Chiefs are out of timeouts. They take over with 3:37 to play at the 22. Trooper is in for Godfrey as a linebacker. Pitch out to Larry Johnson. Over 100 yards today for an 8th consecutive game. Hit by Hart. Then belted on the play by Cooper on a gain of 4, Randy, which takes him out to about the 25.
How about San Diego in this second half, Kevin? That was just 14 plays, losing it on down. Then before a 10-play drive and an interception in the red zone coming off of LaDainian Tomlinson's hands. Wonder why there's been no points in this half?
Right.
In the list.
Pause.
Tomlinson has carried 14 times for 47 yards. Planning for the next time he gets out there.
And San Diego's allowed a season high 129 rushing yards against.
Second down, 7 with a couple tight ends from the 25. Larry Johnson. And grabbed in the play by Jamal Williams and torn down after a gain of 5 near the 30. Johnson becoming the first running back in 17 games to get 100 yards on the #1 rated rush defense in the NFL, that of San Diego. Timeout. Tuesday, January 17th on CBS. Tom Cavanaugh stars as a record executive who knows everything about music, but has a lot to learn about love. Love Monkey coming January 17th to CBS.
Tom Cavanaugh's lucky he's on Tuesday night, because this Saturday weather and conditions, as you can see there, that's bad conditions for a Love Monkey there.
Couldn't have said it better myself. 1 timeout remaining for San Diego. Brees has thrown a touchdown pass, but that was on the second San Diego possession. 3rd and a long 2. Kennison in motion. Richardson provides a block for Green, who runs for the first down, slides to the 35, brought down by Edwards on a gain of 5.
Well, this has really been about, I think, this offense in general. I've singled out the offensive line on a regular basis, but Larry Johnson has done a great job. Dick Vermeil's quarterback, Trent Green, especially on 3rd down, has been just nails in this game. And, you know, once again, this offensive line has been sort of the bellwether for this football team. When they play well, they're able to handle defenses. And when they don't, Trent Green gets pressure, and the offense has problems.
Jacksonville and Pittsburgh have won. And you see where the Chiefs and Chargers are on the outside looking in.
So if this stays the way it is, San Diego loses this game, it eliminates them. And it basically comes down to Kansas City and Pittsburgh for the last one. And
because of tiebreakers.
Because of tiebreakers. And then Pittsburgh still has the 1 game on.
Chiefs have a couple tight ends. Johnson with 124 yards in the backfield. 1st and 10, 35-yard line. Johnson, Wegman is pulling. Tackle is made by Merriman. Gain of 3. Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Kevin, at Cincinnati, this is how the Bills locked up the Bengals. Terrence McGee returned to kickoff 99 yards for a touchdown earlier. He picks Carson Palmer here and returns 46 yards. 8 straight times the Bills have beaten the Bengals. 37-27 today, guys.
Thank you, Greg. That does affect now the Denver-Oakland game later today on CBS.
Makes that huge because Denver gets a chance to see if they can secure that #2 seed in that week off.
Both teams without timeouts. All empty. 2nd down and 7. Parker on the move. Larry Johnson with the call. Makes a tackle at Jamal Williams. Merriman finally douses him at the 40. Gain of 1. That's Johnson's 31st carry today. And this will take us to the 2-minute warning. The Chiefs have won 7.
Seriously, honey, men are working here. How I Met Your Mother, CBS Monday.
At the 2-minute warning, Larry Johnson has a couple touchdowns, one on the ground, one through the air. Sammy Parker touchdown reception. 20-7 Kansas City. Here's a 3rd and 5.
Johnson's covered in mud. He's got a towel there right behind him. He's been carrying around trying to wipe some of the muck off.
No timeouts remaining for either team. Larry Johnson chased by Merriman, gets by him, got a block from Rolfe, brought down by Jammer, shy of the first down, picks up 2. The Chiefs look like they may punt, although they have not sent that.
They're going to punt. They're going to let this clock run out before they punt. Run as much time down as they possibly can.
The gain got to the 42. They needed the 45.
Remember, we talked about what's coming up next here with this Indy-Seattle game. Obviously, a historic meeting there of teams with a whole bunch of wins that was overshadowed by the recent death of Tony Dungy's 18-year-old son. But Oakland and Denver, putting Denver very much into the hunt for number 2 in that week off now that Cincinnati has lost.
Cole quick to punt. A good snap by Perry. And Parker fumbles the ball. The Chiefs have recovered. And that is the final nail in the coffin for San Diego. 2nd turnover by the Chargers today.
Well, the Chiefs will now go, like you said, 18-0 in December. 18 straight games in December here in Arrowhead Stadium. Dick Vermeil moves to 11-0 in December in Arrowhead Stadium.
Sammy Parker was the one to vacuum it in. And the Chiefs will live to play another day. Alive and well. Maybe not well, but alive.
Good for Dick Vermeil and this whole team in this situation. We've talked about, will Dick be back next year? Will Rolfe be back next year? Will Shields be back next year? I can tell you, as one of the thousands of guys that have played football for Dick Vermeil, I played for him 2 years in college. You love Dick Vermeil the rest of your life because he's done so much for you as a person and as a player. I hope this guy coaches forever because I'll tell you, this league and the players in this league need to play for a guy like Dick Vermeil.
The San Diego Chargers have not lost by more than 4 points in 28 consecutive games until today. That should be it. On Christmas Eve in Kansas City, San Diego is gone. And the Chiefs remain. But they need a lot of help going into next week's game against Cincinnati here at Arrowhead Stadium. Larry Johnson rushes for 131 yards. Green throws 2 touchdown passes, and the Chiefs beat the Chargers 20-7. Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Kansas City. Coming up next, it's game 2 of our doubleheader. The Colts take on the Seahawks, or the Raiders take on the Broncos. The Chiefs stop a 2-game losing streak and come out on this holiday and beat San Diego. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, America's #1 network.